20s. It will be milder overnight into Thursday. Then we start a warm stretch with every day keeping us at least a little on the warm side of daily averages. Not a lot of precipitation on the way. Some light rain possible Friday into Saturday, and then widespread showers possible Tuesday and Wednesday. If we look at this running accumulation through Sunday night, north is where we're still less than 1/10 of an inch, extending this through Tuesday night. Even so, southern West Virginia struggling to pick up any accumulation. So all things considered, a pretty dry 7-day period. That's with drier air in place, which is also part of what keeps a lot of clear skies out there. So that's what we have tonight. And Thursday, we'll have some nice sunshine. Even without the clouds overnight, could be the recipe for a cooler one, but compared to what we had this morning, definitely could be colder. Here's your Fly CRW forecast. It starts at home. If you're traveling across the country, notice many of these spots do have a warming trend over the coming days. The exception is Chicago, falling to 47 by Friday with some showers Thursday and Friday. Also want to plan for some stormy weather in Florida. Elsewhere, pretty dry conditions. Panhandle to panhandle forecast. We mentioned milder night ahead, and we will see the northern panhandle staying in the 40s for the most part, topping off in the 70s on Thursday. Looking east into the mountains, locally we will see temperatures near and below the freezing mark. Highs then struggling to warm much past the low 60s here on Thursday, but more of the exception than the rule for the rest of the region. We'll see most spots above freezing, if not in the 40s, and then topping off with a lot of low to mid 70s on Thursday. Here we have Petersburg at 70 as well, and in the south, locally still seeing some areas that are near and below freezing, but looking west to stay in the mid 40s and top off in the mid 70s. Charleston over the next 7 days, a little bit of light rain into Saturday morning, and then Tuesday and Wednesday.
This is Metro News Hotline, presented by Salango Law. Metro News Hotline is a 3-hour audio tour navigating the world of sports, news, entertainment, tech, and more from a Mountain State point of view. For your entertainment, Hotline is a no politics zone. You can join the conversation. Text the show at 304-825-5304. 304-TALK-304. Or call 800-765-8255. Here's the host for Metro News Hotline, Dave Weekley.
All right. Hello, West Virginia. We're back for more. Was there ever any doubt? Back for more in the 304. Time to get it done in the 681. Time to start this 3-hour audio tour for Wednesday, April the 8th, 2026. Metro News Hotline. Metro News Hotline comes to you from the Salango Law Studios. Visit salangolaw.com. Oh, look who's back. Look who's back. Well,
welcome back, man.
Well,
we missed you.
Well, I tell you what, Coop, I hope you learned your lesson. Listen, I know that suspension was tough for you and your family, but I hope you learned a lesson, and we're happy to have you back.
I took some time off away from things along with the Reds offense. We were both vacationing at about the same time.
We have Red stuff to talk about. We definitely have Red stuff to talk about, but it is good to have you back on the show. So how are you feeling?
I'm great, man. I feel really good.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of had to pull the plug on some of our on some of the adventures we had planned, so we scaled things back a little bit in our little trip, or our little time off. And it was a good time. We had a great time with the family. Ended up being a little closer to home. A little expensive out there, you know. So
I hear you, man.
So
I hear you.
Dialed things back just a little bit and kept it closer to home, and it was great. It was a good time.
Ryan, we missed you on the show yesterday.
Yeah.
You were going to be part of the crosstalk, but
no,
you
I
had
wasn't.
You were going to be part of the crosstalk yesterday, but you had a very important assignment at home to get your gaming computer up to speed. We discussed it briefly on the show yesterday in your absence. How did that go?
Well, actually, I was only scheduled till 3, so I was leaving anyway.
You were supposed to be with us for the crosstalk segment yesterday, but you had to rush home and play the video games. So how is your new computer?
Oh, it's great, Dave. Honestly, I really like it. The fans are so quiet. It's so nice. Also, it's really cold, which is good for a PC. It only averages, the GPU averages around, like, I haven't seen it go over 60 degrees Celsius, which is cold for a computer.
Coop, we were talking about this on the show yesterday. What's your first reaction when you hear your computer fan come on?
Well, it happens in here more often than it should on our computer that we use in here. And your first reaction is, well, better back everything up.
Yeah, yeah. But I asked Ryan this yesterday before the show, and your response I thought was very interesting. You said it just proves that the fan is working.
Yeah.
Which I think is very interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I was just going to say that's the theory that I always have with my sump pump. I live in a part of the city that requires a sump pump in my basin. So when I hear it, it's like, oh, well, it's working.
yeah.
There you go. There you go.
But my new computer has a total of 7 fans.
Seven fans. That's about the number of fans we have for this show.
Is that
actually.
more or less than? Is it like an OnlyFans account? Do they subscribe, or how does that work?
My first computer had 3 fans, one for the GPU, one for the CPU, and one for the case. This one has 4 in the case, 2 for the GPU, and 1 for the CPU. And so that thing is going to stay cold no matter what.
I just want to come back and savor that moment, Coop, where he made one statement about his fans and we had 2 laser-focused jokes. I hope the people who are listening to this on the podcast or in real time appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. It's something that you can't get everywhere.
Yeah, there would have been a giggling if there had been a studio audience there. There would have been a giggling. So I just wanted to stop and point that out.
Oh man, I really missed my cue for the laugh track.
No, that's all right. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm glad this is working out.
Yeah.
I'm glad this is working out. Coop, do you know what today is?
Wednesday.
Well,
yes.
today is
Yes.
a very special day in relation to your name, Dale Cooper.
Because Twin Peaks.
That today is the first day that Twin Peaks aired in 1990. When was the last time you said your name out loud and someone said, "Oh, Agent Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks"? When was the last time that happened?
It's becoming a little less frequent as Twin Peaks goes beyond the horizon of our zeitgeist on pop culture. You know, it still happens on occasion. What is more likely to happen is somebody will hear my name and they'll hear it like out in the wild somewhere, and somebody will be like, "Oh, like on Twin Peaks." So that will happen every once in a while. What happens much less than it used to is when I'm trying to introduce myself or get somebody to remember my name, I'll be like, like the Twin Peaks character, and people are like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
So but if people are conditioned because they're a Twin Peaks fan and their radar is up for the name Dale Cooper, then occasionally I'll say my name out in public where people don't know me, and they're like, "Oh, Dale Cooper."
I thought there might have been a chance that I probably should have sent you a text about this, where you should have worn your Twin Peaks T-shirt to work today. I mean, has anybody ever seen you in that T-shirt and then it's like, boom, a light comes on, they make the connection between the TV show and your name?
The problem with that shirt is like a robe now.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Quite literally, the shirts from that era are like robes on me, so it's very difficult for me to wear them.
I hadn't even thought about that. That's
that one
a
I
really good
kept
point.
because it was, it's my shirt of me.
Yeah.
My wife got it for me, and so that one has a little bit of sentimental value. But you could put 3 of me in that pretty easily now.
This morning I heard you on the air this morning. I heard some of your show at 8 a.m.
That
this
happens
morning.
on the radio.
Yeah, I turned on 580 and I heard you out there talking. I was on my way down to the doctor's office. So I get in the doctor's office this morning, and they always go through the same litany of questions. And one of the questions was, "Have you been exercising?"
Yeah.
And my response normally is something like, "I don't know. After all these forms and walking in from the parking lot,
I lift a mic every day.
I'm feeling a little bit clammy right now. If that's what you're asking."
I don't know. I'm not ordained by the Catholic Church.
There you go. That's good too. That is good too.
Any truth to the rumor that you responded? I carry this network on my back every day. I think that's enough.
No, that is clearly not the case. That's good, but it's clearly not the case. Okay, a couple of sports things. Oh, I got some other stuff, Ryan, so you don't have to zone out here. I got some stuff for you.
Ooh, voice crack there. My bad. I'm sorry.
So
I'm so sorry, guys. I shouldn't have done that. That was terrible.
So we've got college baseball tonight where Marshall plays at WVU. This was a game that was scheduled for yesterday and for whatever reason got postponed. They thought the weather was going to be bad. Yeah, that's sometimes in college baseball it works out that the weather was actually good enough to play. But in any case, the game's going to be played tonight. How many guys in the game tonight between Marshall and WVU will be older than Connor Griffin?
Ha!
Think about that. Think about that. How many dudes wearing the old gold and blue and the green and white tonight that will be in that game in Morgantown will technically be older than Connor Griffin.
This is really familiar headspace for me because I worked for the Wheelers long enough for some of the signees that were coming through Charleston to be younger than me. So at that point in my life, that was really – and now everybody's younger than me. But at that point in my life, it was very interesting to be like, hey, Steve Gibraltar, I'm like 6 months older than he is. What do you know?
Right.
Like there was some really interesting stuff like that. But it is incredible when you think about that now, when you talk about signing a kid straight out of high school like that, who's in it – what is he? Is he 18
He's
or 19?
19 years old.
19 years old. And, man, I think about what I was doing when I was 19. That was like a year out of high school, right? Man, I was a knuckleheaded idiot.
Oh, I know.
Are you kidding?
I know.
I mean, he could be a knuckleheaded idiot. He's just really good at baseball,
and he's really, really good at these press conferences.
Oh yeah. He does pretty well.
When things are going well. But I mean, he's 19 years old, and he signed his name to a contract with the Pirates today, 9 years. For reportedly $140 million.
One thing I will say about the cat, and I don't know anything from anything, just checking out a couple things on his socials, some things that he taught, he seems to be pretty outspoken sometimes, which who wasn't when they were 19, but who's the same at 35 as you are when you're 19. So you got to, you might want to be a little careful there because he might find himself in the league in 15 years not recognizing the guy that was spouting off as a rookie, But anyway, what a fantastic story for him. I mean, holy cow, man, just stack those dollar bills.
Whew, that's just crazy. Just the idea that you would go into a room, sign your name, and then get $140 million eventually.
He basically made like his great-grandson wealthy.
Pretty much.
I mean, for the most part.
Pretty much. It was funny. The other day when he made his major league debut and they interviewed him after the game, and he said, let's go, like 3 different times in like a 60-second interview. And I'm thinking, don't you have anything else? And I thought, wait a minute, he's 19 years old. 19 years old.
Can't stand. That's not
Yeah,
Wait a minute, you're not old enough, son.
That's right. Hey, you're back today. Tony, speaking of WVU, we'll get into that a little bit later on. Tony Caridi is going to be here at 5:33. But we've got Professor Mike Siegel coming on the show today at 5 o'clock.
Yes, that should
so
be very good.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about the real science. This is where you're coming back in, Ryan. We're going to be talking about the real science of the movie Project Hail Mary and a little bit about Artemis II. Okay, a little bit about Artemis II. So I'm really interested to see what he has to say about Project Hail Mary.
Michael has a YouTube channel where he does this. He doesn't do it all the time, but a couple times a year he'll break down, and it doesn't have to be a new movie. He'll just take a movie that does science. He did a great one on Contact. I know we've talked about that movie on here before, and he's done a lot of great he did The Martian, and he's done a lot of great ones. But this is one I requested from him because I thought it would be really good for our show, and he finally saw it, so he's ready to break it down.
Yeah, the guy who wrote the book The Martian did this movie as well.
Yeah, Andy Weir.
Yeah, the Andy Weir. That's exactly right. So there's a lot of chatter about what it would be like to go to Mars, and there are things that are in this Project Hail Mary movie that kind of play fast and loose with science, but a lot of it is pretty accurate, okay, or it's supposed to be accurate. But one of the things I want to ask him about is how many movies have you seen, science fiction movies, where part of the plot is that there are people on a spaceship and they are frozen or they're in a coma or whatever. They can't be awakened until they get to the destination, like 2001, Alien, Futurama. I mean, all these shows are similar, and that happens in this movie too. Nobody's really ever done that.
Well,
right? Nobody's ever. We don't really know if that would really work.
I can easily answer this. I mean, you should get it to the experts, but it's because in the hypothesis of space travel, it's one of the only somewhat feasible way with the science that we now have that we can see that we can do interstellar travel. Yeah. The only way you can do it because it takes so long at near the speeds of light. It takes so long to get somewhere. I think if you're like going 99.9% the speed of light, instead of taking a year to go a light year, it takes, I forget what, but it's something ridiculous. So it takes hundreds or thousands of years to traverse. So the only way you can do that is cryogenically freeze, or you're going to be locked to the solar system. So in order to do science fiction where you're leaving the solar system, you got to get a MacGuffin in there somewhere on the way you do it. You either break the light barrier or you freeze yourself.
But have you ever seen when things happen when something gets frozen? Things expand, liquids expand when things get frozen, and that never happens in the movie.
That's not That's not what happens at all, Dave. Have you taken a physics class? When temperature goes down, cellular movement goes down too. When things speed up, cells expand and they go outward. It's literally the opposite of what you're saying, Dave.
We only have so much.
That's why we're bringing in the professionals at 5 o'clock.
And we only have so much time, and this isn't the primary topic of the day, but I also have to throw into the ring here, as the guy that used to own a bookstore, one of the amazing books that I read when I had the bookstore and we had media that was coming in was a book from 1968 called We Froze the First Man, which is actually the memoir of the first team that tried to cryogenically freeze a person. It is the actual story of, and that person is still, actually the story is he was still frozen up until about 10 years ago, and I think that they finally lost their funding and the dude is no more. I think maybe his family was trying to put some funds, but anyway, it's a novel, or not a novel, it's a memoir where you can go in and you can read where they took this wealthy man and they were trying to freeze him right upon his death so they could revive him at some point in the future. Real life story.
I should clarify. I should clarify. My vocabulary was wrong. It's not cells, it's atoms that go slower.
The other thing is, in the movies, when somebody is frozen and they bring them back to life, it's like they immediately wake up. It's like, oh boy, how long have I been out? Oh, I don't know, 17 years. You know, how can that possibly be? Where suddenly you'd come back to life and like all your organs and all your blood pumping would all just like boom go from like 0 to 100. In a moment.
It'd be a really boring movie if you had to watch him reorient themselves.
I know. How's Fred? Well, he's in the middle of like a 6-week process back there.
You know, he's finally learning to walk again, and we're expecting involuntary breathing to come next. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but the thing is, once you're into the realm of hypothetical, then you can just follow that chain down all kinds of. Well, if we can hypothetically freeze people cryogenically, then we can hypothetically come up with some sort of a chemical mixture that we shoot them with when we unfreeze them that rapidly thaws them and gets the synapses going again. By the way, I almost did it there again. Have you ever heard the thing where people accidentally say unthaw all the time?
Yes.
Like it's freeze and thaw, but people will say, hey, you need to unthaw that meat. Yes, that's something that I read years ago, and I catch it all the time now in myself and others.
What percentage of students Professor Siegel has at Penn State are older than Connor Griffin?
All of them, probably, right?
Does Connor Griffin have questions about space travel?
No,
and worries about things like, if babies were born on the moon, they wouldn't be able to return to Earth, Professor. That kind of thing.
If generally athletes are any test subjects here, and baseball is actually pretty bad at this because you have a lot of people straight out of high school. There's a lot of flat earthers there, so you never know.
Yeah,
you never know.
We shouldn't look to celebrity athletes to get advice from.
Well, he had one question today that he didn't answer at the presser about the contract extension was, and this always gets asked, what was going to be the first thing you were going to buy? What was going to be the first thing? Coop, when you were 19, here's the thing, though. Connor Griffin's already married, okay? He's already married. So
at 19?
At 19, he's married. So
Mrs. Griffin is so happy.
Yeah, she's so happy about this.
Oh my goodness!
But I mean, if you're like a dude and you're 19 years old and you're not married, what's the first thing you buy?
Man, when I was 19, I swear, because I got a pretty decent job where I made, not long after that, where I made a pretty good chunk of change. The first thing I bought was a supercomputer.
Oh, there you go.
Like the best computer that I could possibly buy.
Did it have as many fans as Ryan's computer?
No,
has?
It only had 3 fans. It took a while to get it popularity.
Oh, man. Well, we hear all these crazy stories about these super talented athletes who have no idea what to do with their money, and that's why so many of them go broke so quickly. I mean, the story about Mike Tyson, where he ran out of gas in his Bentley, so he bought another Bentley. That kind of stuff.
You could just run the scam where you sell him like Bentleys with an eighth of tank of gas for the rest of your life.
I know.
Sorry, Iron Mike, I got a new one for you right here.
Oh, man, oh, man. Coop, I'm glad you're back.
Thanks, man.
I'm glad you're back.
It's fun to be back.
We had some good times and over the last few days, but I'm glad you're back. And Ryan, well, let's go ahead and take a look at our question of the day for today.
I can't wait for you to get fired, Dave.
Question of the day, and it's sponsored by Salango Law. The groundbreaking sitcom All in the Family aired its final episode on this date in 1979. So the question of the day, and it is sponsored by Salango Law. Which TV family most resembles your own, for better or worse? Which TV family most resembles your own, for better or worse? To respond, text those in 304-TALK 304, 304-8255 304. You can tweet me. Yeah, you can do that. At Weekly, W-E-E-K-L-E-Y, one word, 3 E's, W-E-E-K-L-E-Y. Jeff Jenkins has arrived.
We just get a hole in one here?
Did we? On
maybe.
the old par 3
Maybe.
tournament on Wednesday at the Masters?
Fleetwood, they're giving him a lot of hugs there.
Yeah,
Maybe.
look, he did.
Looks like a hole in one little.
Yeah, it looks like he
there.
did something. He's telling Rory all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, forget you, Rory. I mean, you got your first green jacket. I just put one in with all my family watching.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you got?
Oh, yep, getting it out of the hole.
There you go. And wave it. Hey! What's up in the news? What's going on?
At the website, WVMetronews.com, Dave, it was very, very cold last night. Not as much in the Kanawha Valley as it was in other parts of the state. Had a big freeze over in the eastern panhandle. And, of course, because it was so warm over the last couple of weeks, the fruit crops were already out pretty significantly. Those who are in charge of the orchards over there tried to keep things warm last night. We've got a story on some of the measures that they went to. We've got a story at the website. State Board of Education today recognized several schools for their academic improvements and cutting down on absenteeism among students. Among those was Huntington High School, which has cut down on chronic absenteeism by 12%.
Wow.
So pretty significant there. One of their students spoke, and we've got the story at the website. House delegates Democrats want the governor to call a special session to suspend the gas tax because all what's happening. So that story also at WVMetronews.com.
Good stuff, Jeff. By the way, there's a great photo in this story about the spring freeze in the eastern panhandle.
Yeah.
Really, really good
They set
photo.
like 1,200 little fires on 40 acres to try to keep it warm.
That's a really good picture. Thank you, Jeff.
All right.
Let's take a break. We're coming back with more in a moment.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place
You own
to
a
sleep
boat
at
because
night,
you love
or whether
spending time
anyone
on the
cares
water.
about them.
Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
You want to know what West Virginia is talking about?
It's good to be back in Morgantown today.
Now it's different.
I think it's mostly just business.
What I voted for and what I think makes the most sense.
Well, Dave, this has been a bit of a controversy.
I want to thank the caller last week that said I sounded like Hoppy Kurtzville. That was flattering.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talk Line on Metro News Television.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Stay connected to what's happening today in West Virginia.
What about this and what about that? And it just went back and forth. And I was just the guy reading the text. Okay, so what's your take on the whole thing?
Well, now you just get me fired up. Now
right.
you just
Okay. So
get
I'm
me
gonna
going.
turn on. I'm gonna run down to Wendy's and grab a burger, and I'll be back.
Join Dave Allen weekdays for midday on Metro News Television.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. The State Board of Education recognizing 3 schools today for a significant increase in student achievement.
Thanks for watching your Metro News TV weather forecast, brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
This is your Metro News television forecast brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun. After starting off our day generally in the 20s, it will be milder overnight into Thursday. Then we start a warm stretch with every day keeping us at least a little on the warm side of daily averages. Not a lot of precipitation on the way, some light rain possible Friday into Saturday, and then widespread showers possible Tuesday and Wednesday. If we look at this running accumulation through Sunday night, north is where we're still less than 1/10 of an inch, extending this through Tuesday night. Even so, southern West Virginia struggling to pick up any accumulation. So all things considered, a pretty dry 7-day period. That's with drier air in place, which is also part of what keeps a lot of clear skies out there. So that's what we have tonight. And Thursday, we'll have some nice sunshine. Even without the clouds overnight, could be the recipe for a cooler one, but compared to what we had this morning, definitely could be colder. Here's your Fly CRW forecast. It starts at home. If you're traveling across the country, notice many of these spots do have a warming trend over the coming days. The exception is Chicago, falling to 47 by Friday with some showers Thursday and Friday. Also want to plan for some stormy weather in Florida. Elsewhere, pretty dry conditions. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast. We mentioned milder night ahead, and we will see the northern Panhandle staying in the 40s for the most part, topping off in the 70s on Thursday. Looking east into the mountains, locally we will see temperatures near and below the freezing mark. Highs then struggling to warm much past the low 60s here on Thursday, but more of the exception than the rule for the rest of the region. We'll see most spots above freezing, if not in the 40s, and then topping off with a lot of low to mid 70s on Thursday. Here we have Petersburg at 70 as well, and in the south, locally still seeing some areas that are near and below freezing, but looking west to stay in the mid 40s and top off in the mid 70s. Charleston over the next 7 days, a little bit of light rain into Saturday morning, and then Tuesday and Wednesday.
The university is proposing an overall 2.5% increase to undergraduate and graduate resident students. We're also proposing to maintain non-resident international and metro undergraduate and graduate rates at our last year's level.
Now, Marshall's been working on getting out of a structural debt for a few years. President Brad Smith says that will happen next year. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to the show. 26 minutes till the hour. Jeff Erickson's going to join us here from RotoWire in about 12 minutes. The Coop. Man, we're getting older, and so I'm not surprised when some of our baseball heroes of the past pass away. But did you see this note just from the last 30 minutes or so that Davey Lopes of the Dodgers has passed away?
No, I didn't. I missed that.
So,
wow.
So Davey Lopes of the Dodgers has passed away at the age of 80. Man, it was an incredible run for that Dodger infield. So Lopes played more than 1,100 games at second base for the Dodgers from his first full season in 1973. Of the 1,139 games that he played at second base for the Dodgers, in 833 of those games, the infield was Steve Garvey at first base, Lopes was at second, Bill Russell was at short, and the Penguin, Ron Cey, was at third base. Over 800 games together. That's incredible when you think about it, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
He was in the Lopes played for the Dodgers, the A's, the Cubs, and the Astros. He was in the majors for 16 years. He has passed away at the age of 80. Let's see. That's crazy. The Garvey, Lopes, Russell, Cey Dodger infield has their own Wikipedia page. They set a record for the games played together by an infield. Second is 623 games by the Cubs of the late 60s, Ernie Banks, Glenn Becker, Don Kessinger, and Ron Santos. So that news is just coming in that the Dodgers second baseman for most of the 70s, Davey Lopes, has passed away.
Man, I got to tell you, I'm very familiar with Davey Lopes, but I'm not familiar like one of those guys that I've gone through and encyclopedically gone through his numbers or whatever. What a lot of great one of the best stolen base career percentages of all time. Only Vince Coleman has a better success rate, with 83% success rate and 557 steals. I mean, that's pretty incredible, right? Led the National League a bunch of times in steals and was very successful in that. He stole 38 consecutive bases one time. That's pretty impressive, too.
I know.
I mean, this guy's I remember him as being on the tail end of his career, when I really started watching baseball and everything. And I remember more like people were talking about how great he was. Like, I'm sure a lot of people were talking about the Reds, the aging Reds of the mid-'80s that were left over from the Big Red Machine. I'm sure a lot of the language that went around them. But, man, what an absolute incredible player.
Yeah, really great player. Yeah, that was the era in which the Reds were in the West, right? So they saw the Dodgers in that group many, many times together. Of Garvey, Lopes, Russell, and Ron Cey, that Dodger infield. So he's passed away. Hey, we had our first real brawl last night.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too.
Jorge Soler and Ronaldo Lopez. I got to tell you, I don't have a problem with Soler at all. I mean, he was basically hitting Lopez at like a 600 clip. He had already homered in the game. He had already been hit in the game. So when he got his tower buzzed at like 100 miles an hour, he went out there. And it's not like pitchers hit anymore. So
how are you going to get
back
right?
at the guy, right?
Do it right?
How are you going to get back at the guy? So I really have no problem from the Angels' perspective of going out to get the guy after he was clearly throwing at him.
Yeah. I mean, you can't – I mean, in this day and age, too, when you basically have a cannon strapped to your arm and all these guys are throwing 100 miles an hour – like I'm all for pitching inside. I'm all for taking people, but you do it legally. You know, you do it the way you're supposed to. You get them inside off the face, chest high, whatever. Man, when you start getting up there at the chin and the head area, and you're throwing it up there, man, at some point it's just too much.
So how about Walt Weiss? What a crazy situation. He said after the game, and I completely forgot about this, that Weiss and Soler were teammates. So in how many situations? So Weiss tackled Soler. I mean, he's only like 5'9" or something like that. So he tackled the opposing player who was going after the pitcher. How many times has that ever happened in baseball history where former teammates later in their career, one's the manager and he tackles the other guy? who's also involved in the fight.
Man, I'm kind of having a hard time realizing that Walt Weiss and Solaire's careers have overlapped at some point on the playing field.
I know, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, Weiss seems like an artifact from the 90s to me. That's
played forever, man.
It's hard to believe.
He played forever. I did want to mention this. If you've got a child who's a junior in high school in West Virginia or know somebody that does, please listen up. Here's your opportunity to win a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan College that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. The 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. The deadline is May 3rd, so that's coming up. For deadlines, go to WVMetroNews.com. To apply, that's WVMetroNews.com. Again, application deadline coming up. It's May the 3rd. Let's get into the sound of sports, and we'll start with baseball. It is official now. The Pirates have signed 19-year-old shortstop Connor Griffin to the biggest contract in franchise history. It's a 9-year deal. That part's confirmed, and it's reportedly worth $140 million with incentives that could tack on $10 more million. Griffin's the only teenager in the majors at the moment, and he's happy to get this behind him so now he can focus on the field.
Yeah, it was a fun process. Definitely a lot going on, and I'm so glad that I can just go be the baseball player now. I can kind of put this behind me. I'm super excited about everything. Glad it's finalized, and now I get to go play ball.
All right, Griffin's roared through the Pirates farm system after being selected 9th overall 2 years ago. At today's presser announcing the signing, Bucks GM Neil Huntington said before signing, Griffin was concerned about how this big contract would impact the way his new Pirate teammates would feel about him.
Hopefully I'm not taking too much of a risk in saying this, but there was a time in this process where Connor did express at least a question, right? Of like, how are teammates going to feel about this? And that was out of total respect for you guys and what you've accomplished as major league players and what you're going to accomplish, and total respect and desire to be a teammate with you. And so it was an honest, question from a young player who hadn't been in that clubhouse with you guys yet. So,
by the way, the Pirates lose to the Padres this afternoon over just moments ago, 8-2 the final. Meanwhile, in Miami, scoring runs had been an issue for the Reds until last night. The Reds trailed the Marlins 2-0 going to the ninth, but rallied with a pair of runs to force extra innings. And in the 10th, Matt McLain cracked his second double of the night to bring home a pair of runs, and Cincinnati came off the deck to foil the Fish 6-3.
Maybe break his bat. Yeah. Weak ground ball, getting out at the plate. Not that. Deep to left. And it's off the wall. 2 runs are going to score. It's 5-2 Cincinnati.
The Reds improved to 5-0 on the road, 8-3 overall, and that matches their best start in 15 years. Here's Matt McLain on the Reds' sudden ability to win close games, a big turnaround from last year.
I think just our confidence, we'd like to be up a bunch of runs at the end of the game, but, it doesn't always work out like that because that's how baseball works. But we're going to keep going out there, passing along the baton in the lineup, and taking good at-bats one after another, and good things happen.
Reds right-hander Brady Singer starts in Miami tonight in Game 3 of this 4-game set. The Marlins will counter with Yuri Perez. Last night in Washington, the Cardinals rallied for a 7-6 win over the Nationals in 10. The Cards came off the deck and scored 5 runs on the Nats' shaky bullpen. And in the 10th, J.J. Weatherholt knocked in the 7th run for St. Louis, and that turned out to be the game winner.
Swing and a shot hammered toward right. Weaver on the run. Can't get it. That's down. Weatherholt around first. On his way to second. He's got a double. He's got a fist pump. And the Cardinals lead by 2. You love everything about this. First of all, tacking on another run, but JJ had been beat at the top of the zone a couple of different times today. He goes to school, gets the hands up, stays on top of this baseball.
All right, that's going to do it for the Sound of Sports. A quick break, and Jeff Erickson's coming up next. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Josh Strand, Safety Coordinator for Civil and Environmental Consultants. Some companies talk about profit first, but at CEC, we put safety first. It's not just a slogan, it's how we live. We invest in top-notch safety gear and practices because we believe a safe workplace is a productive one. I like knowing that at CEC, my safety matters. So why settle for less when you can work where safety truly comes first? At CEC, we engineer progress in the great state of West Virginia.
Find out what CEC can do for you. Visit cecinc.com.
Worried about paying for college? Metro News is proud to present the 19th annual West Virginia Scholar Program, where one high school junior in West Virginia will win a full scholarship to West Virginia Wesleyan College, including room, board, tuition, and fees. For details, go to WVMetroNews.com and click the Apply Now button. Deadline is May 3rd. The 2026 West Virginia Scholar Program, presented by Greer Industries and the West Virginia Hospital Association. Go to WVMetroNews.com and apply today by May 3rd.
Metro News Hotline, brought to you by Salango Law, will return right after these messages.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off, or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
The conversation starts long before the game.
He doesn't do this to other guests, but every time I'm on here, he creates distractions.
Disrespectful.
With his phone. I mean,
I have to have the phone on in case Pete Thamel breaks another story.
Oh, yeah.
Join Tony Caridi, Brad Howe, and Hoppy Kercheval for Three Guys Before the Game. Metro News Television, available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNews.com.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. Take your pick from our massive selection. Now up to $5,500 off select new Acadias and 3.9% for 60 months. The great deals continue with our large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
There's often an assumption that my nasal congestion, my sneezing, my runny nose, these are just things that I have to live with. A lot of times patients will tell me, I've tried every allergy medication, every nasal spray, I've done it all, doc. And then I'll frequently say, what about this? You need to come to the WVU Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center. If those things haven't worked, there are new options, new treatments. There's probably something we can do to help. You don't just have to live with those symptoms.
All right, welcome back to the show. 13 minutes till the hour. We will get Jeff Erickson on here in just a moment. A couple of notes about the Pirates game today. So the Pirates lose the rubber game of their three-game set with the Padres 8-2 the final. Pods 8-10-0. Bucks playing a little fast and loose with the defense today. Not great. 2-6-3. Bucks commit 3 errors in the game. Not a lot of offense for the Pirates today. This game was scoreless until the top of the 7th inning, and one of the things that's going to be lost in this decision today for the Bucs was another outstanding game by Mitch Keller. Keller went 6 innings, allowed no earned runs, just 3 hits, a walk, and 4 Ks. But Justin Lawrence, the roof caved in his inning of work in the 7th. He had 3 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them were earned, had a walk in the inning. So that's basically where the roof caved in. Jeff Erickson joins me now from RotoWire. How you doing today, Jeff?
Doing great, Dave. How are you?
I'm fine. You know what? I want to ask you about some players maybe that we might be overreacting to early. I mean, the sample sizes are so small. I want to get your take on some of these players. If Cam Smith of the Astros is available in your league, do you try to get him or not?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, last year, we were excited when he made the team out of spring training without really kind of accounting for the fact that he barely had played at the upper levels of the minors and was switching positions. And they kind of got thrown into it there, and he struggled, and, it was tough. I think he and Jordan Walker, the Cardinals, can do this whole Spider-Man meme thing here where they're both the same guy because they both kind of had a similar path, struggled early on, took Walker an extra year, but both these guys are having great starts to this season this year. And the thing I like about both is, there's some metrics that suggest this is for real. Average exit velocity is a lot higher. Bat speed is a lot higher. We like seeing these sort of metrics.
Yeah, but a lot of people around baseball have been waiting for Walker to break out for a long time, and you touched on it. His bat speed has just been incredible, a real jump in that this year.
Yeah, homers in consecutive games, had a monster one on Saturday in Detroit as well off of Jack Flaherty. Really like what I've seen out of him. And the strikeouts are getting cut down, too. The walk rate's going up. He sees the ball better now. He's more confident. And the Cardinals are in this perfect position for him where it's let's see what we got with certain young players. Play him every day, ride the ups and downs. There'll be slumps with him. But, as opposed to previous years where they kind of harbored maybe some hope that, they were a contending team, can't afford slumps. This year they can kind of ride that out a little bit better. And that's their mission this year is to figure out what they have in Jordan Walker, what they have in Victor Scott, Alec Burleson, all these, maybe not rookies, but up-and-coming players.
The Reds are in the middle of a 4-game set in Miami with the Marlins, and one of the players for the Marlins in the first couple of weeks of the season that have people talking is Liam Hicks. He can catch. He plays first base. Ramirez is getting a lot of time at DH. What's your take on Liam Hicks? Is he a viable fantasy player?
I think this is a nice hot streak for him. I think he's solid enough, but between Ramirez and a guy named Joe Mack that they have in the minors, the Marlins are kind of loaded at catcher a little bit. Hicks is a better defensive catcher than Augustin Ramirez, and it's not really close. And that's the one thing that works in his favor a little bit. But I don't know if this what he's shown at the plate is for real.
What's your take on all the injuries to the pitching staff of the Cubs right now from a fantasy perspective?
It's a tough spot because, I was really high on Cade Horton, and he's done for the year. This is a tough injury, really tough injury there. And then, adding on to Matthew Boyd, that's a tough one. That's what Matt Boyd does. Unfortunately, he gets hurt. He's good, and then he's hurt. They need Justin Steele back in a big way. They're kind of, you and I have talked about Jamison Tyon before, and I think there's some worrying signs about him right now. Velocity is down. K percentage is down. More balls in play and harder contact being given up. But they really don't have an alternative to pivot to right now. Javier Assad's in this rotation right now. Maybe you could pivot to moving Ben Brown back in the rotation. Even that's a little fraught with peril, though. He's been better as a reliever than as a starter.
Let me ask you, the Connor Griffin news happened after you were with us last week. He signed a 9-year, $140 million extension, or contract rather, not extension, with the Pirates earlier today. From a fantasy take, what kind of numbers are you looking for Griffin if he stays up?
Well, I think you're seeing the highs and lows with Griffin. I mean, there's tremendous athletic ability. I think command of the strike zone is going to be something he deals with a lot this year. I think strikeouts were an issue in spring training, and one of the reasons why I thought it was justifiable they got sent down to start the year. Clearly, they thought it was more just the way they wanted to time it instead of actual seasoning, though. You're going to get stolen bases. The speed is legit. when he gets a hold of it, there's going to be a good amount of power. But I think that you will have a batting average risk in his rookie season, and there's nothing wrong with that. There, as a 19-year-old at the major league level, he's definitely a unicorn.
Let me talk to you about a couple of Reds players, fantasy-wise, in the early going. What's your take on Spencer Steer right now? He's off to a slow start. He really doesn't have a position. Should you be trying to acquire him? Should you be trying to get him off your team? What's your take on Spencer Steer?
He's going to have multi-position eligibility first in outfield. That helps keep him a little bit more relevant there. He even played a game at third for the Reds this year. It used to be that you get him at 3 or 4 positions, and that made him a little bit more valuable. He's an important part of that team, but he's a right-handed hitter, and that's not, and they have a slew of right-handed hitters. So if he continues to slump, playing time could be at risk, especially if they decide to call up another left-handed hitting outfielder. If J.J. Bleday gets the call, for instance, maybe it's just sufficient that Friedel and Benson are out there at times too. We've seen Noel Marte also have to sit out every once in a while.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Marte. I mean, the Reds are trying for their 6th consecutive win tonight in Miami against the Marlins. Marte's fantasy value is plummeting here. Should you be trying to acquire him, or if he's on your roster, what do you do with him?
I think that I think he's a no action. If you have him, I wouldn't drop him. Certainly not in a 15-team league. In a 12-team league, it's a little borderline. I actually have benched him in some leagues because of the playing time issue. But I think that could change. I mean, we've seen that with Tito before, where he'll kind of cool on a guy for a little bit, then he'll get hot, and all of a sudden now that guy's a made man. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to ask you quickly about a couple of the Dodgers. Rushing the other day had a 5 RBI game and 2 home runs. Will he get enough at-bats to be fantasy relevant?
That's the problem. Will Smith still exists, and he's very good. So Rushing is like a 2 starts a week sort of guy, and I don't see that changing. Unfortunately for Rushing, they have this guy named Ohtani. He's really good at baseball, and he's going to be the DH all the time.
Right. And what about Mookie Betts? How long do you think he'll be out?
It's an oblique injury. You can't rush those back. I'd say at least 3 weeks.
Okay, got to leave it there. Jeff, always enjoy our conversation. Thanks for coming on the show. I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, Jeff Erickson from RotoWire. A quick break. We're back to wrap the hour in a moment.
Metro News Hotline, presented by Salango Law, will return right after these messages.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
All the sports West Virginia is talking about.
Nikki Izzo-Brown, coach of the nationally ranked WVU women's soccer team.
I think they're just having a very good understanding of each other.
Join Kyle Wiggs, Brett Howe, and Coach Hunter weeknights for Sportsline on Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off, or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
There's often an assumption that my nasal congestion, my sneezing, my runny nose, these are just things that I have to live with. A lot of times patients will tell me, I've tried every allergy medication, every nasal spray, I've done it all, doc. And then I'll frequently say, what about this? You need to come to the WVU Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center. If those things haven't worked, there are new options, new treatments. There's probably something we can do to help. You don't just have to live with those symptoms.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your App Store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
All right, we'll take a quick break for news here at the top of the hour and come back with a whole lot more. This is Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Thanks for watching your Metro News TV weather forecast, brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
This is your Metro News television forecast brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun. After starting off our day generally in the 20s, it will be milder overnight into Thursday. Then we start a warm stretch with every day keeping us at least a little on the warm side of daily averages. Not a lot of precipitation on the way, some light rain possible Friday into Saturday, and then widespread showers possible Tuesday and Wednesday. If we look at this running accumulation through Sunday night, north is where we're still less than 1/10 of an inch, extending this through Tuesday night. Even so, southern West Virginia struggling to pick up any accumulation. So all things considered, a pretty dry 7-day period. That's with drier air in place, which is also part of what keeps a lot of clear skies out there. So that's what we have tonight. And Thursday, we'll have some nice sunshine. Even without the clouds overnight, could be the recipe for a cooler one. But compared to what we had this morning, definitely could be colder. Here's your Fly CRW forecast. It starts at home. If you're traveling across the country, notice many of these spots do have a warming trend over the coming days. The exception is Chicago, falling to 47 by Friday with some showers Thursday and Friday. Also want to plan for some stormy weather in Florida. Elsewhere, pretty dry conditions. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast. We mentioned milder night ahead, and we will see the northern Panhandle staying in the 40s for the most part, topping off in the 70s on Thursday. Looking east into the mountains, locally we will see temperatures near and below the freezing mark. Highs then struggling to warm much past the low 60s here on Thursday, but more of the exception than the rule for the rest of the region. We'll see most spots above freezing, if not in the 40s, and then topping off with a lot of low to mid 70s on Thursday. Here we have Petersburg at 70 as well, and in the south, locally still seeing some areas that are near and below freezing, but looking west to stay in the mid 40s and top off in the mid 70s. Charleston over the next 7 days, a little bit of light rain into Saturday morning, and then Tuesday and Wednesday.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
This is Metro News Hotline, presented by Salango Law. Metro News Hotline is a 3-hour audio tour navigating the world of sports, news, entertainment, tech, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Hotline is a no-politics zone. You can join the conversation. Text the show at 304-825-5304. 304-TALK-304. Here's the host for Metro News Hotline, Dave Weekley.
All right, welcome back to the show. Hour number 2, How Do You Do? Metro News Hotline, keeping you company here in West Virginia every weekday afternoon on the Metro News Radio Network right up until 6 o'clock. Beautiful day here in Charleston this afternoon. Warm, lots of blue skies out there, 65 degrees. Hey, wherever you're listening to the show today, inside the state or beyond the borders, we hope you're having a good day. And we're doing okay here in Charleston, operating out of our flagship, 580 WCHS. A couple of blocks down, 1111 Virginia Street East from Charleston Catholic High School. Got a lot of stuff to get into with you in this middle hour of our 3-hour tour today. We will take a peek at what happened in the financial markets today, reset our question of the day. Oh, one of the members of the Dream Team, Tom Bragg's in the house from 580 WCHS. Good to see you, Tom.
It's good to be back. We've been on the phone for a couple of weeks. Wednesdays have been tough the last couple of weeks. They aren't usually. I can usually find some time to get down here. I'm glad to be back.
I'm glad to see you. We got a lot to talk about. A little bit later on in the half hour, we'll get into the entertainment report. Abrar Al-Heeti will be here at the bottom of the hour with a tech news segment. As we delve deeper into the hour, we'll open up the On This Date file, have the 5 things to know at 5 o'clock. Things going on today that have already occurred. Padres beat the Pirates this afternoon 8-2 in the rubber game of that 3-game set with San Diego. Reds play tonight in Miami against the Marlins, and Marshall is at WVU tonight in college baseball, 6:30 first pitch in Morgantown. 5 o'clock hour, Professor Michael Siegel from Penn State will be by. We'll be talking about the science of the movie Project Hail Mary, and we'll get his thoughts on Artemis II as the astronauts are now coming back to the Earth after circling around the moon. Tony Caridi is going to be here at 5:33. We'll talk about, the pros and cons of the Crown Tournament that West Virginia just won last weekend in Vegas. The portal is open, and a key member of the Mountaineer basketball team has jumped in. How concerning is that? We'll get Tony's take on that. That'll be at 5:33, and then more of your responses to our question of the day. Before we go any farther, though, let's go ahead and take a look at what happened in the financial markets today. In the markets, well, as you might imagine, after the ceasefire was officially announced last night, the United States and the war with Iran, the markets love that. The Dow was up 2.9% today, gained over 1,300 points. The Dow closing at 47,909. S&P 500 was up 2.5%. Tacked on almost 166 points today, 67.82. NASDAQ was was also up 2.8%. NASDAQ gaining over 600 points today, up 617 points, 22,634 at the close. As you might imagine, a lot of stocks related to West Virginia. We had some big winners today. Amongst the biggest, Caterpillar was up 6.4% today, tacked on $46.21, $770.65 at the close today. DuPont was up almost 5% today, gained $2.23, $47.76 at the close. Tex came roaring back today. Alphabet was up 4%, tacked on $12.35, $317.81. Conversely, chemical stocks and big integrated oils took it on the chin today. ExxonMobil down 5.3%, losing $8.71, $155.20 at the close. Frankly, Exxon and Chevron were down percentage-wise a lot bigger earlier in the session. In the energy space today, oil down almost 15%, losing $16.53. WTI and the NYMEX now under $100 at $96.42. And nat gas was also down today, 4.8%, lost 14 cents, $2.73 per unit at the moment. Of course, they're still trading. And what about crypto today? Crypto was up 2.7%, added a little more than $1,900. A Bitcoin going for $71,402 at the moment. Question of the day. It's sponsored by Salango Law. On this date in 1979, the groundbreaking sitcom All in the Family on CBS aired its final episode. So, here's the question of the day. Which TV family most closely resembles your own, for better or for worse? Which TV family most closely resembles your own, for better or for worse? Text those in, 304-TALK 304, 304-8255-304. You can get to me also on X at Weekly, WEEKLEY. One word, 3 E's, WEEKLEY. Let me get a couple of quick ones here. Here is H. Batha on X. Dave, my family, the Beverly Hillbillies, but without the cash. That's awesome. That's great. Bananas for WV. Dave, some Waltons with a couple of Beverly Hillbillies on my dad's side, and all in the family mixed in with Maud on my mom's side. Kip says, possibly at one time, everybody loves Raymond. That's pretty interesting. Jody on X. Dave, all in the family for sure, but my mom was Archie. Nice. So we'll get.
That might be true in my case as well.
That's pretty good. All right, Tom. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Might as well start with the portal.
Sure.
Right? Might as well start with the portal.
Everyone else has.
So yeah. So literally, once the national championship game ended, the portal opened up. Is there anybody left on Marshall's roster?
Bryce Slay.
That's right.
I
That's
think
right.
that
He's
might
there.
be it.
Okay. So how are these teams, especially in the G6, expected to build a team every single year from scratch?
And I think it's more than that. The whole era of NIL, fans have heard, we need you to open your pockets. We need you to open your wallets. We need checks. We need money for NIL. And fans have, for the most part, responded. Not across the board, but they've answered the call. And then you see, put yourself in the position of a Marshall fan who donated money to Marshall so that they could pay basketball players NIL today with one player on the roster. I think there's actually two that are still around. Would you be compelled to give them any more money for that ever again? I wouldn't. And it just seems like the fans are the ones that get burned here. I know that the coaches are put in a really bad, Corny's in a terrible position right now, not maybe as bad as Kim Caldwell down at Tennessee, but that's the one that got me thinking the other day. She's got no players on her roster right now. Gosh, this could happen to Marshall in a couple of days when the portal opens. And sure enough, here we are. And it's almost exactly happened to Marshall. And it's not just Marshall. It's all across the country, but the G6 especially. What are you supposed to – I don't have an answer. What are you supposed to do? How are you expected every year to go out and pull a rabbit out of the hat? Corny's been pretty good so far in the portal. He's done well in the first couple of years. This is a different task he has this offseason. He's got to completely rebuild this team, either around Bryce Slay or with Bryce Slay, but that's what you're working with right now. And no disrespect to Bryce Slay. He's a fantastic player, but that's on a basketball team. That's not a lot to work with coming back next year.
So do you blame fans for being cynical about this whole situation? Not just at the G6 level, but at other levels as well.
A couple years ago, I might not have blamed them, but I wouldn't have said that I didn't blame them. But now I wouldn't blame them at all for being cynical. Look at what just happened with Marshall. Look at what's going on at a big school in women's basketball like Tennessee. No one's is immune from this.
Yeah, we've got Tony Caridi coming on in a couple of hours, and I'm going to ask him a little bit about the DJ Thomas situation. So Thomas hopped into the portal after he averaged about half a dozen points for West Virginia this season. Yeah. But it's funny, there are some fan bases that are like, they're looking at this and they're saying, oh, gee, that's a terrible story about, wait a minute, this is happening to me? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of fan bases that think, we're above this. Nobody would ever leave our school, which is paradise. But it's all transactional now, right?
Yeah, look at Tennessee women's basketball. For my entire lifetime, that was a tippy-top dynasty-type program. And they've got no players coming back next year.
And they had arguably the number one recruiting class in college basketball for women last season.
Yeah.
Now they're all gone.
All of them gone. Yeah. And it's just a fickle game. I've come on here for years and said it, Dave. College sports is a completely different world than it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It's not what we all fell in love with. Some people still like this product. Some people are still making up their minds, I think.
But how do you when, and I totally agree with that. But then when you look at the other side where the ratings for college games couldn't be better. People are watching these games in droves. Look at West Virginia this year. People stormed into the building to watch the team, and they're rebuilding the team essentially from scratch now. What are we looking at for the 5th consecutive year?
Yeah.
So fans, there are some
I think West Virginia fans will just be happy to have the same coach for 2 years in a row, let alone the same players.
That's right. So I guess, kicking and screaming, I guess that's the way I'm looking at this. That's the way we just have to deal with it now.
Yeah, it's either deal with it or don't.
Or don't,
Yeah.
exactly, or don't. You and I were talking a little bit off the air. Marshall spring drills for football end this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Tony Gibson say they're going to have a half of football, right? They're only going to play one half of a spring game and then come out and sign autographs. I remember when Bob Pruitt had a spring game that did he wave off the second half or wave off the fourth quarter? And people nearly rioted.
Yeah.
Now it's a situation where everybody's kind of looking at spring games like coaches. College football coaches are kind of like your crazy ex-girlfriend when it comes to spring games. They want you to care, but they really don't want to actually have these games, right?
Yeah,
and there's a lot of reasons for that.
I don't think they've ever wanted to have these games. I think back to an incident at Marshall when I was a student reporter at the Parthenon. Mark Snyder was the coach and made a big deal about drafting the teams. They had a big draft during the week, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but he turned sour on those rosters Friday afternoon. So everybody walks in Saturday, and nobody is on the team. For the media, it was terrible because we had rosters, and we were like, what is going on here? And up top, they're just like, oh, yeah, coach decided to change at the last minute. So coaches have always kind of had maybe a quiet disdain for the spring game. I think they like spring drills. They love spring drills.
Oh, they love those. Yeah, they love those.
But the spring game has always been a thing for the fans. It's not for it's an exhibition scrimmage against yourself going half speed, and that might be generous most of the time. This is always for the fans, and it goes back just the fans are getting left out of the equation in a lot of things in college sports these days, and I think the spring game is pretty indicative of that trend across the board because I saw on my way in here Akron is having a spring game, but they announced today closed doors, no fans allowed. Why even have it then? It's for the fans. It doesn't make any sense to me, Dave.
Well, knowing a little bit about the MAC and Akron, I'm kind of saying like it's like you mean like a regular season game at Akron where nobody basically goes to any of those games?
The ghost of the Rubber Bowl still haunt me, Dave. I'm not talking bad about Akron here.
I know. Yeah, you just think back. You and I were talking about this off the air. Remember when Marshall would bring just spring, not the spring game. They would just have a separate workout they would bring to the Valley at Oaks Field.
Yeah. And it was packed.
It was absolutely packed.
You couldn't get in. Didn't you say there were cows there?
Well, they did two of them, and they did one that was not the spring game when Byron Leftwich was a senior, and he didn't play. He didn't even play, but he was walking around, and there was cattle. It was crazy. I kind of like spring games.
I liked them when it seemed like the teams and the coaches cared at all about the game itself. I get that they care about the spring drills and they're important, but the game itself.
Let me just stop you there.
Sure.
How important are these practices? We hear so much about. I don't want to sacrifice my 15th spring practice for a game that fans can come to. What's that about? I mean, missing or altering one practice so fans can come see your team.
That's junk. That's garbage.
Yes, it is.
That's absolute garbage. It's a practice versus goodwill with your entire fan base and a little bit of money for the program, too. I mean, you're still selling concessions. I think spring games, for the most part, have been free of charge to get into. But I think I said it on here a couple weeks ago. I feel like Marshall's spring game jumped the shark when Charles Huff moved it into the indoor facility. It has not been the same since then.
Yeah, that's right. A couple other things about the Herd. So the athletic budget came up for discussion.
I believe
today.
so, yes.
So it looks like the Jones getting new lights.
Oh, my gosh. And I retweeted something about that, and the responses I got to the retweet were like, 10 years overdue. We can't believe it, but
finally.
Be happy with that it's finally happening, Herd fans. We might be able to get some good photos out of the Joan at some point. I know the photographers hate the lighting down there.
Well, and here's the other thing, too. It took Marshall forever. But to their credit, eventually they did get an indoor facility.
Yeah.
And now the indoor facility has been up and running so long that now they have to replace the turf in it.
Yeah,
right?
it gets a lot of work. It's not just, for indoor football practice. Baseball goes in there. Soccer goes in there. Track's in there year-round, using the track in there. Hey. Not a lot of indoor facilities have a full track inside like that. So it is an awesome facility. Not showing its age, but turf is one of the first things to go. You look around here locally, there's a whole lot of turf fields that went in a couple years ago. They're going to need some maintenance before too long.
Do you remember the brainstorm Doc had the year he decided to have the spring game inside?
What was that?
Didn't they have the green and white game in the indoor practice facility?
That was Huff.
Oh, it was Huff.
That was Huff.
Oh, I forgot that. You're right. It was.
That was Huff, and it wasn't. It was 100 degrees and sunny outside. They had inflatables set up on the field, and our kids got sunburn at it. But
so
anybody who wanted to watch the game had to cram in there, and I mean, it was shoulder to shoulder, as tight as you could get. People all around the top. It was kind of a cool experience to see it happen, but the game hasn't been the same since. I think everybody wanted they wanted the carnival atmosphere, and they weren't giving it to
Was
them.
that Huff's first year?
It might have been.
It might have been.
I was still doing the 24/7 site, and that was his first 2 years, so it was early in his tenure.
Hey, I'll get you out here on this. Let's talk a little bit about spring soccer.
Okay.
So Marshall's spring soccer season is underway. I mean, they've played Rio Grande, and I guess they've got
they're into the championship round of the College Spring League.
Okay.
That they're in. They play Ohio State this weekend.
Oh, now where's the game?
The game is at Ohio State's home stadium. Didn't used to be that way. They used to play the championship game at the old Crew place. UFL football's there now.
Oh, well.
So
how are they doing?
Marshall?
Yeah, they're doing okay in the spring.
Unbeaten so far in the spring. Won to the championship game against Ohio State. And, Ohio State, kind of like Marshall, is perennially a top 10, top 5 type program. So it should be a really good game.
Gosh, it was good to see you, Tom. Coop, did you sense this segment was kind of like almost a trip to the psychiatrist for me? It's like just talking about the problems I have with some of the things that Marshall's doing off.
Yeah, it's good. It's
a two-way street.
Yeah, it's good to get that off.
It's good to talk about it. I can write about it, but it feels better to talk about it.
It does feel good to talk about. Hey, so you and I were talking about the Champions League. Champions League is going today too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got some big games in the Champions League today. Defending champion Paris Saint-Germain versus Liverpool, who in the Premier League hasn't maybe met expectations, but they're still in the Champions League. That's a big trophy too. So that's actually going on right now. I haven't checked the score yet, but that's a big one. They're in the quarterfinal round, so we're starting to get towards the end of things here.
Now PSG, I don't know if you're this or not, but that's Rusty Webb's favorite team.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. He's seen them play multiple times in person.
Well,
no less.
They're good. So,
Tom, thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Tom Bragg, every week at this time at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. A quick break, and then we'll get into the entertainment report today in just a moment.
Don't forget about our podcast. Check out your favorite podcast provider or simply go to WVMetroNews.com and click on the podcast link. This is Hotline, presented by Salango Law on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
There's often an assumption that my nasal congestion, my sneezing, my runny nose, these are just things that I have to live with. A lot of times patients will tell me, I've tried every allergy medication, every nasal spray, I've done it all, doc. And then I'll frequently say, what about this? You need to come to the WVU Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center. If those things haven't worked, there are new options, new treatments. There's probably something we can do to help. You don't just have to live with those symptoms.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
You want to know what West Virginia is talking about?
It's good to be back in Morgantown today.
Now it's different.
I think it's mostly just business.
What I voted for and what I think makes the most sense.
Well, Dave, this has been a bit of a controversy.
I want to thank the caller last week that said I sounded like Hoppy Kirchhoff. That was flattering.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talk Line on Metro News Television.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
There's a big update from the heroes of the Artemis II lunar mission because the crew is officially heading home. That's great. Glad to hear that everything is working out, but how do I put this, fellas? Not a great time to return to Earth. You might want to take a couple of laps around the parking lot.
All right, welcome back to the show. It's almost 4:28, about halfway home on this edition of Metro News Hotline. Here until 6 o'clock this afternoon. Thanks so much for tuning in today, folks. Here are the latest entertainment headlines from ABC.
ABC Entertainment News.
The Academy of Country Music Awards have added 3 more performers to their lineup. Casey Musgraves, Little Big Town, and Miranda Lambert will join a slate of previously announced performers, including Riley Green and Lainey Wilson. The ACM Awards will stream live on Prime Video on May 17th. Hulu has announced the release date for Not Suitable for Work. The new comedy series created by Mindy Kaling will premiere on June 2nd. Disney is the parent company of Hulu and ABC News.
We are so happy you're
We
here.
have our first trailer for The Invite. The A24 thriller is directed by Olivia Wilde, who also stars in the film alongside Seth Rogen, Penelope Cruz, and Edward Norton. The Invite is set for a limited theatrical release beginning on June 26th.
A handshake is available upon request.
And happy birthday to Patricia Arquette, who is 58 today. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Michelle, thank you. Minnie Driver will headline a new Paramount Plus heist thriller called The Day. The 8-episode drama is based on a Belgian series and is currently in production. The series will explore a tense, shifting narrative told from multiple perspectives as the heist unfolds. Paramount Plus has not yet announced a release date. We'll take a break for local news here at the bottom of the hour because that's kind of what we do here. But when we come back, it'll be time for a tech news segment. Abrar Al-Heeti will be back with us in just a moment. This is Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
This is Hotline, presented by Salango Law on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Thanks for watching your Metro News TV weather forecast, brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
This is your Metro News television forecast brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun. After starting off our day generally in the 20s, it will be milder overnight into Thursday. Then we start a warm stretch with every day keeping us at least a little on the warm side of daily averages. Not a lot of precipitation on the way, some light rain possible Friday into Saturday, and then widespread showers possible Tuesday and Wednesday. If we look at this running accumulation through Sunday night, north is where we're still less than 1/10 of an inch, extending this through Tuesday night. Even so, southern West Virginia struggling to pick up any accumulation. So all things considered, a pretty dry 7-day period. That's with drier air in place, which is also part of what keeps a lot of clear skies out there. So that's what we have tonight, and Thursday we'll have some nice sunshine. Even without the clouds overnight, could be the recipe for a cooler one, but compared to what we had this morning, definitely could be colder. Here's your Fly CRW forecast. It starts at home. If you're traveling across the country, notice many of these spots do have a warming trend over the coming days. The exception is Chicago, falling to 47 by Friday with some showers Thursday and Friday. Also want to plan for some stormy weather in Florida. Elsewhere, pretty dry conditions. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast. We mentioned milder night ahead, and we will see the northern Panhandle staying in the 40s for the most part, topping off in the 70s on Thursday. Looking east into the mountains, locally we will see temperatures near and below the freezing mark. Highs then struggling to warm much past the low 60s here on Thursday, but more of the exception than the rule for the rest of the region. We'll see most spots above freezing, if not in the 40s, and then topping off with a lot of low to mid 70s on Thursday. Here we have Petersburg at 70 as well, and in the south, locally still seeing some areas that are near and below freezing, but looking west to stay in the mid 40s and top off in the mid 70s. Charleston over the next 7 days, a little bit of light rain into Saturday morning, and then Tuesday and Wednesday.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
CA hosting a hiring event on Charleston's East End this afternoon. YWCA Executive Director for Community Enrichment, Teresa Horton, says she is grateful for this event.
There was a lot of hard work that went into this. I want to thank our partners at Kroger for coming down and, being so generous to come and see us today. They did not have to do that. They did not have to stop down on Charleston's East End, but they did. And I'm super excited that they took the opportunity to partner with us.
The hiring event was for the new Kroger Marketplace set to open in South Charleston in June. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jack Carlson.
Discover the WVRC Media app, your gateway to pristine audio for every WVRC radio station across West Virginia. Download it for free from the Apple or Play stores and enjoy the best music, talk, and local news from Beckley to Morgantown, Charleston to Martinsburg. Our stations are locally programmed, delivering the finest music and robust local news and sports coverage. Experience West Virginia radio like never before. The WVRC Media app. We're proud to live here, too.
All right, welcome back to the show. 26 minutes till the hour. We're going to get a tech news segment from Abrar Al-Heeti from CNET in just a sec. Finals in Major League Baseball this afternoon. The Pirates were losers to the Padres, 8-2. Mitch Keller tossed 6 shutout innings starting for the Bucks today, but then the bullpen collapsed and the Padres won the getaway game of that set. The Guardians were winners today over the Royals, 10-2 in Cleveland, and the Red Sox at Fenway Park slowed down the Brewers 5-0 this afternoon. And the O's are playing this afternoon as well. They're in the bottom of the 7th, well, now going to the top of the 8th, and the O's with a 1-run lead on the White Sox at Comiskey 4-3. Let me do a quick reset on our question of the day. Question of the day, and it's sponsored by Salango Law. The groundbreaking sitcom All in the Family aired its final episode on this date in 1979. So the question of the day is this: which TV family most closely resembles your own? For better or for worse? What TV family most closely resembles your own? For better or worse? And we've got some great responses to this already, and we'd like to hear what you have to say about it. Text those in, 304-TALK, 304-304-8255-304. I'm on Exit Weekly, WEEKLEY. One word, 3 E's, WEEKLEY. Abrar Al-Heeti from CNET joins me now to talk a little tech. Abrar, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I want to talk to you about a story that got posted at CNET today that you wrote about Uber and Volkswagen. Their self-driving vans are on the street now. So this is happening in Los Angeles. And I'm looking at this van, and it sort of looks like a regular van, you know?
It does look like a regular Volkswagen van. It's very cute and has those curved edges and everything, but this is a self-driving van, rolling out on the streets of Los Angeles as we speak for testing at first. So still have a human in the front seat making sure everything's going okay, and then the plan is to roll this out on the Uber app later this year, starting in LA and then probably to more cities. And if there's anything we know from all these self-driving companies, as they rapidly expand, so this will not stay in LA for very long. I'm sure we'll see this kind of crop up in more cities, but it's cute. I like the idea of a self-driving van. I like the idea of having more space versus just kind of like a sedan, right?
Johnny Cab, right? Yeah, just like Johnny Cab. Get in. Let me ask you, in San Francisco, if you leave the CNET complex and you go out to the street, how many seconds do you think elapse before you see an autonomous vehicle?
2 seconds.
Yeah.
It is immediate. It's like, and not just one, like you'll see a Waymo and then you'll see another one 2 cars back, and then you might see a Zoox driving by too. It's everywhere. And I remember the moment, it was kind of just after lockdowns where it was the number of Waymos had multiplied. It felt like tenfold. I don't know the actual numbers, but these companies will start very slowly in a city, and then they will ramp up the rollout of their vehicles once they realize it's safe to do so.
Coop, the first time that we see an autonomous vehicle in Charleston, what will be the reaction? Will people chase it? Will they?
You mean with like stones down the street?
No,
like,
not
try to flip it over and stab it.
No,
with the pointy end of the stick.
No, where
moves? Oh, moves fast.
Where is it? Where is it going? What's happening here? It's going to be a shock to the system, right?
I do a show in the mornings, and one of my guests on that show last week was telling me how he took a car from here, an autonomous vehicle from here to Florida.
Really?
Yeah, rented.
Oh, okay.
But it was a rental car. But yeah, I took it from here to Florida.
I see. I've never seen one here in Charleston. I guess they exist, though, right?
I guess so.
So here's another question about this, Abrar. I mean, are you blasé enough about this that when you see an autonomous vehicle, you don't even look to see if there's anyone actually inside? Because there's not always a person in an autonomous vehicle that's out on the road.
Yes, as in a passenger versus
yes.
Yes. I do at this point still look in just out of curiosity, but not as much as I used to. But it is a sense of, the hard thing about the Waymos is the back seats are tinted, so I just want to see people's reactions and like what they're doing.
Yeah.
As they're riding a self-driving vehicle. But they're usually the windows are blacked out, so I can't really see unless their windows are down. But I remember in the beginning I did look in and I'd be like, how's that person feeling right now? And usually if I can see them, they're smiling, they're kind of like laughing about the process if there's a few people in there just kind of enjoying the ride.
So we're going to get to the point eventually where it's not going to be so much about the autonomous technology, but about the comfort of the ride, right?
Yes, that, because it's gotten to a point now where there are more options. So Uber is also teaming up with Lucid to launch these luxury SUV self-driving rides as well. So that's how you distinguish yourself, because as the competition gets hotter, what is a differentiating factor? What kind of car do you want to ride in? When you're calling, a standard human-driven Uber ride, you might choose like the more luxurious, like an Uber Black every now and then if you want to spoil yourself. That will be the same case with self-driving vehicles.
It wouldn't be a tech news segment unless we were talking about phones that fold, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. And before we start talking about the Galaxy Z Trifold, for nearly $3,000. Did you laugh to yourself when that story about maybe there's a problem with the Apple folding phone in China that caused the stock to drop like 5% earlier this week?
Yeah, there's so much back and forth on the foldable iPhone. It's so funny how much it's making headlines before it's even come out. But we keep hearing, oh, there might be delays. Oh, actually, it is coming this fall. Oh, but there might be issues here. Actually, no, it's just fine. So there's so much whiplash at this point. And people, I think what it says at the end of the day is people want this phone. People want to see what a foldable iPhone would look like. And if there's already this much buzz, we just have to wait and see what happens if and when it eventually comes out.
Yeah, when this story happened, and it came from a news source in China that there was a problem with the manufacturer of this Apple phone that folded, it moved the stock. I mean, literally, there were just one, maybe two news reports with the rumor of this. the stock lost billions of dollars in its market cap. That's how big the phone market is. Not potentially it is, but it actually is. So, we're still trying to figure out who's going to pay $3,000 for a phone, right?
Yeah. We're still figuring it out, and apparently enough people are doing it that Samsung is re-releasing the Galaxy Z Trifold. This is not just a regular, foldable phone that folds like once. This folds twice. But this phone sold out when it became available in Korea and in the US, not because everybody wants a $3,000 phone, but because Samsung created this in very limited quantities. And it sold out very quickly, and there's a lot of buzz. There's tech enthusiasts who are really excited about this thing. But it sold out for a while, and now they're restocking it on Friday. So if you have been itching to buy a $3,000 foldable phone, I've got great news for you. Samsung.com on Friday.
Great. Fantastic. And so this is going to be relative. Now, this phone that you're talking about, that's almost $2,900. Is this is that the base price, or is this like fully loaded? It's got all the bells and whistles.
It's the base storage level. It's a good question. I'm trying to remember if there was more than one storage amount or if there were two, but that is the minimum price that you'll be paying. But like the only difference would be if there is a higher storage amount. But otherwise it's all the bells and whistles. So yeah, it's curious to see that there's still demand for this. Wow.
I got to believe that when Apple's, what is the name of it? I've got the name of their phone. The Ultra. When the Ultra comes out, that folds later this year. That's essentially the price point, right? I mean, Samsung said it, so it's going to be $3K.
Well, the foldable iPhone will likely be, this is going to be so much better, $2K maybe, because it'll only fold once. So it'll be similar to Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 7, but pocket change, right? What is $2,000? But we'll see.
Well, you know what, though? I mean, for the customer that is interested in a $2,000 phone, that might be the same customer who's willing to pay $3,000 on the phone. Right?
Yeah, it really is the tech enthusiast bubble, the people who are really excited about this cutting edge tech. I mean, it's not going to be our parents, right? It's not going to be people who just need another phone and, they want the basics. These are people who want to really push the limits of what their phone can do. Do you want something that also doubles as a tablet and maybe even a computer if you attach a keyboard to it? That's what the Galaxy Z Trifold is like. And that's kind of why it's at that $3,000 price point, because it's not really marketed as just another phone. It really is this very portable, versatile device.
I'm going to be real interested to see what that price point is on this Apple phone, because it was kind of a shock to the system when Apple rolled out this new line of lower priced laptops. That's just not their move to do that.
Yes, that's so true. That was a very interesting move. And I think it's kind of them proving that they could do both because they have the brand power. But yeah, it was very surprising to see kind of more budget things come out from Apple.
We're doing a segment in about a half an hour, closer to 20 minutes now, about Artemis II. And I think this is really interesting how some of the astronauts are taking their own iPhones into space for using their own personal phones for photos.
Yes, I actually really love this. I love the idea of consumer tech, the phones that we can use down here on Earth being used kind of up in space. So these iPhones, this is kind of like the first time we've seen astronauts use an iPhone up in space. And so we've gotten these really just very touching and moving photos of the astronauts taking selfies as they're looking out at the Earth, them snapping photos with the 8X telephoto lens, of taking pictures of the moon's craters and really punching in there. I think it just really demonstrates how far our smartphones have come and how much power these photos have just within our pockets.
What's interesting, I'm going to check the details when we get to the break here, but there is a market for NASA collectibles and that kind of stuff that's been to the moon. One of the astronauts that actually went to the moon took his own personal camera. And NASA really didn't like it. But there's only one personal camera has ever been to the moon, and it's one of the most valuable collectibles ever when it comes to space stuff. So at the CNET offices, what is it like when Artemis II is making news? Are there a lot of people at CNET who are covering this story or really dialed in on the launch?
It has been buzzing, actually. I love how excited we've all been about this. And so we have a live blog that people have been updating throughout the day, little side stories like this about the iPhones. I think we're all just in awe of this miraculous thing that's happening that's actually positive. I think we all are clinging to good news and happy news. So yeah, we've all been very enthusiastically chattering and messaging each other about this for sure.
Yeah, it has been a great story. Hey, got to leave it there. Abrar Al-Heeti with the Tech News segment. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Always good conversation to catch up on what's going on in the world of technology. Tell you what, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll open up the On This Date file in just a moment.
If you have a child who's a junior in high school in West Virginia or know someone that does, please listen up. Here's your opportunity to win a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan College that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. The 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. The deadline is May 3rd. For details, go to WVMetroNews.com to apply. That's WVMetroNews.com. Remember, application deadline is May 3rd.
Hi, I'm Grant Maltba, Project Manager with CEC. Ever dreamt of working hands-on with wildlife? As a bat biologist at CEC, I do just that. Every day is a new adventure, tackling unique challenges and helping clients meet their Endangered Species Act requirements. It's not just rewarding for me, but it boosts our local economy and aids bat conservation too. Want to make a difference in the field? Join us at CEC. At CEC, we engineer progress in the great state of West Virginia.
Find out what CEC can do for you. Visit cecinc.com.
Metro News Hotline, presented by Salango Law, will return right after these messages.
Each year, more sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off, or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
Stay connected to what's happening today in West Virginia.
What about this and what about that? And it just went back and forth. And I was just the guy reading the text. Okay, so what's your take on the whole thing?
Well, now you just get me fired up. Now
right.
you just
So I'm gonna turn on. I'm gonna run down to Wendy's and grab a burger, and I'll be back.
Join Dave Allen weekdays for midday on Metro News Television.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. Reconstruction when disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. Take your pick from our massive selection. Now up to $5,500 off select new Acadias and 3.9% for 60 months. The great deals continue with our large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
There's often an assumption that my nasal congestion, my sneezing, my runny nose, these are just things that I have to live with. A lot of times patients will tell me, I've tried every allergy medication, every nasal spray, I've done it all, doc. And then I'll frequently say, what about this? You need to come to the WVU Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center. If those things haven't worked, there are new options, new treatments. There's probably something we can do to help. You don't just have to live with those symptoms.
All right, welcome back to the show. Coming up in about 15 minutes, Professor Michael Siegel from Penn State on how accurate is the movie Project Hail Mary anyway. And we'll be talking about Artemis II as well. Let's get into the On This Date file. We'll start with the birthdays, and as always, we'll start with the sports birthdays. We've got some good sports birthdays today. Jim Lampley, ABC, HBO Boxing, 77 years old today. Terry Porter, NBA coach, NBA guard, good player, 63 years old today. CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver for the Cowboys, three-time Pro Bowler, 27 years old today. Shaka Smart, head coach at Marquette, 49. From entertainment, Izzy Stradlin, former guitarist for Guns N' Roses, 64 years old. Julian Lennon is 63 today. John Schneider from the Dukes of Hazzard is 66 years old today. We were just talking about Richard Hatch from Survivor and his IRS problems. And I had a bunch of text messages reminding me that he spent time in incarceration here in West Virginia. He's 65 years old today. Also, birth anniversaries today. John Havlicek of the Celtics and Ohio State, born in this state in 1940. He died in 2019. Gary Carter, 11-time All-Star, Hall of Fame catcher, born in this state in 1954. He died in 2012. And Jim Catfish Hunter of the A's and of the Yankees, born in this state in 1946. He died in 1999. Here's the Catfish talking about how he got that nickname on the day he signed with the Kansas City A's for $75,000.
Mr. Finley said, do you have a nickname? I said, no, sir. He said, well, to play baseball, you got to have one. He says, what do you like to do? I said, hunt and fish. He said, well, when you were 6 years old, you ran away from home and fishing. About 4 o'clock that afternoon, your mom and dad been looking for you all day. They found you. You caught 2 catfish, was bringing in the third. He says, now repeat it to me. So I had to repeat it to everybody that I met that was a friend of Mr. Finley's. But, you know, when you say Jim Hunter now, nobody really recognizes that name. But when you say catfish, everybody remembers it. Thank you, Mr. Finley, for the nickname.
There you go. Catfish Hunter, born in this state in 1946. Significant date, obviously, in the history of baseball. It was on this date in 1974. Hank Aaron hits his 715th home run, breaking Babe Ruth's record.
He's sitting on 714. Here's the pitch by Downing. Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron. The fireworks are going. Henry Aaron is coming around third. His teammates are at home plate, and listen to this crowd. A sellout crowd is cheering Henry Aaron, the home run king of all time. 7:15.
7:15. Probably one of the greatest baseball radio calls of all time. Also on this date from the movies, 1963 at the Academy Awards, Best Picture, Lawrence of Arabia.
I've been seconded to the Arab Bureau. Of course I'm the man for the job. What is the job, by the way? Have you no fear, English? My fear is my concern. We need a miracle. They hope to gain their freedom. I'm going to give it to them.
The man who gives victory in battle is prized beyond every other man.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. Lawrence of Arabia wins the Academy Award Oscar for Best Picture on this date in 1963. Our musical birthday to the break. Yes, guitarist Steve Howe is having a birthday today. Steve Howe is 79. The 5 things to know at 5 o'clock in sports are coming up next.
This is Hotline, presented by Salango Law on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
On the next State of Minds.
I came here to Morgantown, the WVU. I wanted to play football. Tried to walk on, but I was humbled very quickly. So I joined the WVU forestry team. What my father taught me was the importance of hard work and the importance of sweat equity.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off, or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
There's often an assumption that my nasal congestion, my sneezing, my runny nose, these are just things that I have to live with. A lot of times patients will tell me, I've tried every allergy medication, every nasal spray, I've done it all, doc. And then I'll frequently say, what about this? You need to come to the WVU Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center. If those things haven't worked, there are new options, new treatments. There's probably something we can do to help. You don't just have to live with those symptoms.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Voice of West Virginia.
Sports headlines at 5 o'clock. College baseball tonight in Morgantown. Marshall at WVU. First pitch scheduled for 6:30. Pirates were losers at home in the rubber game of their set with the Padres 8-2. The Reds are in Miami again to take on the Marlins. Earlier today, the Guardians beat the Royals 10-2, and the Orioles lead the White Sox 5-3, top of the ninth in Chicago. This is Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Right? So I can go back and watch them.
Yes.
So I could like live this show in real time and then go home and, you know, when I say something to Linda like, hey, did you hear when I did this? And she, I don't watch it. Well, let's get in front of the TV and watch me do it again for 3 straight hours.
Yes, it's archived just like the audio podcast.
Ah, that's right.
And see, this is the thing that gets the NCAA in trouble. Excuse me. When it goes to court here. Is there a clock or not? Greg, we talk about the clock all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If he began in 2019, the clock should have run out, whether he's played the 4 years or not. And that's part of the argument, because some guys go right through the clock, right? TJ Finley, we've mentioned many times on this show. 7th team coming up this year. He's playing for Incarnate Word. He's played 7 seasons at 7 different schools. Now, why hasn't his clock started? Why doesn't he have the 5-year clock? So if you're Aguilar, I get it.
He just bouncing him off the ropes. Somebody save this man. Oh, my Lord. Oh. Very nice, very nice. He hit him with everything he didn't want.
Ten seconds remaining.
Going to be a direct snap here.
Snap back. It's Tyler. Tyler fakes the run. He throws. He's got an open man. Pass top 10. 5. End zone. It's a touchdown. Pulled in by Nestor. 3 seconds left.
Are you kidding me with the play call right there by Kevin Whiteman? Again, forget the game-winning field goal. Whiteman says, we're going to try and win this thing right now. The direct snap to Tyler sucked everybody up, and Nestor slips behind. What an unbelievable, gutsy play call, and then perfect execution by these Falcons.
Things aren't always going to be great. And sometimes, you can work really, really hard and it's still not great. You're still not successful. But, if you continue to do it, one way or another, things are going to be work out. You're going to be successful. And it may not be in the world's eyes, but, God's made us this way. He's blessed us with so many things. And I think that's one of our attributes that we need to have is we're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to work hard. And if it doesn't work out exactly how we want, just keep plugging away because God's got better plans.
Thanks for watching your Metro News TV weather forecast, brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
This is your Metro News television forecast, brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun. After starting off our day generally in the 20s, it will be milder overnight into Thursday. Then we start a warm stretch with every day keeping us at least a little on the warm side of daily averages. Not a lot of precipitation on the way, some light rain possible Friday into Saturday, and then widespread showers possible Tuesday and Wednesday. If we look at this running accumulation through Sunday night, north is where we're still less than 1/10 of an inch, extending this through Tuesday night. Even so, southern West Virginia struggling to pick up any accumulation. So all things considered, a pretty dry 7-day period. That's with drier air in place, which is also part of what keeps a lot of clear skies out there. So that's what we have tonight, and Thursday we'll have some nice sunshine. Even without the clouds overnight, could be the recipe for a cooler one, but compared to what we had this morning, definitely could be colder. Here's your Fly CRW forecast. It starts at home. If you're traveling across the country, notice many of these spots do have a warming trend over the coming days. The exception is Chicago, falling to 47 by Friday with some showers Thursday and Friday. Also want to plan for some stormy weather in Florida. Elsewhere, pretty dry conditions. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast. We mentioned milder night ahead, and we will see the northern Panhandle staying in the 40s for the most part, topping off in the 70s on Thursday. Looking east into the mountains, locally we will see temperatures near and below the freezing mark. Highs then struggling to warm much past the low 60s here on Thursday, but more of the exception than the rule for the rest of the region. We'll see most spots above freezing, if not in the 40s, and then topping off with a lot of low to mid 70s on Thursday. Here we have Petersburg at 70 as well. And in the south, locally, still seeing some areas that are near and below freezing, but looking west to stay in the mid-40s and top off in the mid-70s. Charleston over the next 7 days. A little bit of light rain into Saturday morning, and then Tuesday and Wednesday.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Metro News Hotline, presented by Salango Law. Metro News Hotline is a 3-hour audio tour. Navigating the world of sports, news, entertainment, tech, and more. From a Mountain State point of view. Hotline is a no politics zone. You can join the conversation. Text the show at 304-825-5304. 304-TALK-304. Here's the host for Metro News Hotline, Dave Weekley.
All right, welcome back to the show. It's 5:06 in West Virginia. Time to start the third and final hour of our program today, Metro News Hotline. Thanks for tuning in. We got a lot of good stuff for you here in this hour before we get on out of here at 6 o'clock and make room for the boys on Sportsline tonight. We will take a quick reset on our question of the day. Oh, Coop, we got something in the correction file. Something in the correction file, as usual. I get about half of my stories right.
How do we do this exactly? Because, if we actually did this every day,
that's all we do.
We wouldn't have a show. It would just be welcome to the correction file.
So we're going to do the correction file here in a minute. And it's related to space.
Oh, okay.
It's related to space. So we'll get into that.
Well, there's a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of that, Professor Michael Siegel from Penn State is going to join us to talk a little bit about Artemis II. And I want to pick his brain a little bit about Project Hail Mary, about how close is that to the real science. We're going to the source here. So Professor Siegel will join us in a minute. In or out, we'll do that at 5:25. Tony Caridi is going to be here at 5:33. Did you think we were going to go the whole show without a segment about the West Virginia Mountaineers? That's not going to happen. So we're going to do that. That'll be at 5:33. And then more of your responses to our question of the day, which we should reset right now. So it was on this date that the groundbreaking sitcom All in the Family aired its final episode in 1979. So the question of the day, and it is sponsored by Salango Law, which TV family most resembles your own, for better or worse? Which TV family most closely resembles your own, for better or for worse? To respond, text those in, 304-TALK-304, 304-8255-304. You can find me on X too. Yeah, I'm still there. At Weekly, W-E-E-K-L-E-Y, one word, 3 E's, W-E-E-K-L-E-Y. Here's Anthony in Clarksburg. He says, hey, Dave, whoever drew Bob and Linda from Bob's Burgers had to have known my parents in about 1987. It's basically a cartoon version of them. That is pretty good. That is pretty good. Warm weather appreciator on X. Dave, my family would be something in between Roseanne and Mama's family. Oh, that's a pretty good combo. Pretty good combo. We'll get more of your responses in a bit. Okay, here's the correction file. We were talking a little bit in our tech news segment at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour about space collectibles, and I made a comment about privately owned cameras that made it to the moon. That's not exactly right. A couple of things about this. The original case of an astronaut bringing their own camera into space was Wally Schirra. He did that with a Hasselblad 500C in his Mercury mission in 1962. What I had confused was the commander of Apollo 15. That was David Scott. He took his own Bulova to space and was on the lunar surface with it in July of 1971 after his Omega Speedmaster failed. So that Bulova is the only privately owned watch to ever actually be on the surface of the moon. That made it significant, and it was auctioned 11 years ago for $1.6 million. So it wasn't the camera, it was the watch. It was the watch of the commander of Apollo 15, and so that was a pretty expensive watch at auction. It went for $1.6 million. All right, that's it for the correction file. Now let's get to the facts. So Michael Siegel, professor at Penn State, joins me now to talk about Artemis II and to get in a couple of comments about Project Hail Mary. Good afternoon, Professor. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me. Good to be back.
Well, let me ask you, first of all, did you like the movie? Did you enjoy the movie?
I enjoyed it very much. Just as a movie, it's entertaining, it's moving, it's funny. Ryan Gosling, gives an amazing performance. He's on screen for basically the entire movie. The music is great, special effects are great. It's a big hit, and I really like seeing a movie be successful that respects its audience's intelligence and isn't afraid to give them a complex movie with highly technical concepts that they can dig their teeth into.
So how did they do with that? I mean, first of all, are you the kind of guy that makes noises in the theater when something isn't quite correct when it comes to science? Like, you're not the guy that stands up and says, that's not true. You're not that guy, are you?
No, my parents raised me right. If I did something like that, I'd expect my mom's hand to somehow come out and hit me in the head for doing that. But I'll sometimes think, oh yeah, that's not right. But in the case of this movie, I didn't think that very often. There are a few little leaps, and it's based on a premise that may not be scientifically valid, but is an interesting premise to explore. But for the most part, they got it right, and that's not a surprise. This is written by Andy Weir. He's the guy who did The Martian. He's a former software developer. But what he does is he sort of crowdsources questions he has. He makes spreadsheets to make sure the flight dynamics and fuel consumption figures are all right. He really gets into the nitty-gritty details to make sure he gets as much accurate as he possibly can. And so it shows.
I'm not going to give away the whole plot of the movie. No spoilers here. But the film begins with the story of the sun may be giving out. So tell me a little bit about that. I mean, what would actually happen if this process started to begin and the sun would start to go out? That would be curtains for the Earth, obviously, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't have to have too much dimming from the sun to be, potentially fatal for Earth. If the temperature of the Earth dropped even, 10 degrees, 15 degrees, you're talking about an ice age, basically. When the Earth's temperature dropped because of a supervolcano 70,000 years ago, it dropped 5 degrees and humans almost went extinct. So, we're very sensitive to that sort of temperature drop. So even a small dimming of the sun would be potentially catastrophic.
One of the things that my producer Dale Cooper and I were talking about in the 3 o'clock hour is the premise of so many science fiction movies has to do with people being put into a coma or frozen so they can make long journeys into space. But that's never actually really happened. How realistic is that in the future? Is that something that is going to have to be developed if we're going to explore deep space?
It's something that we would have to develop. The alternative is building large generational ships where people live and die on the ship over many years and new generations are born, kind of like the wagon trains when they went into the far west. But something like that is you're going to have to develop. The basis of the technology exists. The problem is that if you actually froze someone like that, their water in their cells would freeze and all their cells would shatter and you just get a mush, not an actual person. So the challenge there is to figure out ways of freezing someone without killing them. And so there are creatures, small creatures like tardigrades that can be frozen and be fine. So it is theoretically possible, but who knows if we'll ever actually get there.
So what science in the movie, and we're talking with Michael Siegel from Penn State about his thoughts on the movie Project Hail Mary. What science in the movie did they play fast and loose with, in your opinion? Quantum physics? What was fast and loose?
Probably the main thing that's speculative is the astrophage, the main problem in the movie that's very speculative and has somewhat fantastical properties. But I often say with movies like this, I don't demand that they be scientifically accurate, but I demand that they be consistent. And they're very consistent with how this is used in the movie, the properties it has, what it does to planets, what it does to spaceships, and so forth. They put a lot of thought into that.
All right. I wanted to ask you also just your take on Artemis II, and how closely have you been watching this mission now that the astronauts have circled the moon and they're heading back to the Earth, and they're planning for a prime time splashdown near San Diego on Friday night?
It's been very exciting. I have a little bit of mixed feelings on Artemis because it is a very expensive program, and I think they need to find a way to cut the costs if they're going to be as ambitious as they want to be. But if sending humans into space beyond Earth orbit for the first time in 50 years, you got to be excited about that. At one point, they were the furthest humans away from who have ever gotten away from Earth. And I'm told that the crew on the space station went to one side of the space station so they could be the furthest apart any humans had ever been. And the technology has been upgraded, and you can't help but like this crew. They're very likable, very personable, very smart. I was very moved by the astronaut who asked that a crater be named after his wife who had passed away a few years ago. And I think they've been great representatives of the country, great representatives of the human race in doing this. So I've been very happy with how this has gone.
I'm always fascinated by any sort of exploration of the dark side of the moon, about why it's so rugged and jagged and it's different than the other side. What kind of questions are you getting from your students about this mission? Are they interested in it?
I'm not teaching classes right now, but I do have interactions with graduate students and undergraduates. And so probably the most common question that we're getting is this sustainable? Are we going to be actually having a permanent presence on the moon? Are we going to see these flights regularly? And that's a matter of how we can progress the technology and how much will we have to do it.
One of the things I'm thinking about is, when this mission began, I'm looking at these astronauts and I'm thinking, wow, they're going around the moon, but they're never going to be on the surface of the moon. That's not necessarily true, right? I mean, if we start having multiple missions to the moon and we get back on the surface, there's probably a very good chance that one or maybe more of these astronauts will actually be returning to the moon and getting to the surface. Am I wrong on that?
No, absolutely. During Apollo, there was a plan that Jim Lovell, who was the first to go around the moon, would land on the moon. That famously didn't go too well with Apollo 13. But it is the number of people who can do this, who have the health and the smarts and the will and just the it factor to be astronauts is very small. So it's a very small pool of people. So I can imagine that some of them will be going back at some point.
Hey, I brought you on originally to talk about Project Hail Mary, so we'll wrap it there. As far as Andy Weir's work, what's a better movie? Did you like Project Hail Mary better than The Martian, or is The Martian a better picture?
Oh, that's a tough one because right now Project Hail Mary is very much in my head. So I think it has to age a bit. But I think if someone wants to say one or the other is their favorite, I'm not going to dispute them. They're both excellent movies.
That's fair. That's fair. Are you a science fiction fan in general?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Where do you think, would this Project Hail Mary, in terms of space movies, would you put it in your top 10?
I definitely would. It has both science and heart. The cliche is, well, you laughed and cried, but I literally did, while watching this movie. So it has, I think there's a reason it's been so successful and people are liking it so much, and that's because it's just a good movie.
All right, Professor Michael Siegel from Penn State, thanks for your insight into Project Hail Mary and your comments about Artemis II. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on again.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be time to play In or Out. Stay tuned.
You can call us at 800-765-8255. Text us at 304-825-5304. Or tweet at WEEKLEY. This is Hotline, presented by Salango Law on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
There's often an assumption that my nasal congestion, my sneezing, my runny nose, these are just things that I have to live with. A lot of times patients will tell me, I've tried every allergy medication, every nasal spray, I've done it all, doc. And then I'll frequently say, what about this? You need to come to the WVU Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center. If those things haven't worked, there are new options, new treatments. There's probably something we can do to help. You don't just have to live with those symptoms.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
You want to know what West Virginia is talking about?
It's good to be back in Morgantown today.
Now it's different.
I think it's mostly just business.
What I voted for and what I think makes the most sense.
Well, Dave, this has been a bit of a controversy.
I want to thank the caller last week that said I sounded like Hoppy Kercheval. That was flattering.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talk Line on Metro News Television.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Stay connected to what's happening today in West Virginia.
What about this and what about that? And it just went back and forth. And I was just the guy reading the text. Okay, so what's your take on the whole thing?
Well, now you just get me fired up. Now you just
so I'm gonna turn on. I'm gonna run down to Wendy's and grab a burger, and I'll be back.
Join Dave Allen weekdays for midday on Metro News Television.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
All right, welcome back. 5:23, hour number 3, Metro News Hotline, here until 6 o'clock. Coop, you and I haven't done in or out together since like last Thursday. It's been almost a week.
And now you have here you have me doing a two-man in or out.
I know.
It's a lot to carry.
Just threw you into the deep end of the pool.
Goodness.
So let's go ahead. Oh, but one of your favorite topics is in here.
Oh, good.
All right, so let's get in here. Let's play some in or out. Every day at this time, we focus on the stuff you talk about at the office. We call it in or out. The setup is simple. We got 3 categories: food or beverage, gut reaction. Finally, this one's about a celebrity, the topics of which change daily. Let's get started with food or beverage. Coop, I hope you're ready.
Ready to go, man. Ready to go.
So Taco Bell launching new steak and guac nacho fries for a limited time nationwide. Nacho fries, steak and guac, featured seasoned fries topped with grilled marinated steak, a chipotle sauce, warm nacho cheese, reduced fat sour cream, and guac. Prices vary, but it should be around $5. Should be around $5 here in town. Taco Bell, steak and guac, nacho fries. In or out?
I mean, I know what they're doing. They're trying to find ways to use this steak that they're using in other things. And
exactly.
And so I guess they figure you can throw it on top of fries. I like the Taco Bell fries okay. I mean, for fast food fries, they're as good as any others for the most part. But what are we doing texture-wise here? How does that steak work on those fries? Because in my mind, that's not working at all. This is a desperate attempt to move steak. I mean, honestly, this is just how can we make up a completely fake meal and hope to move a little steak and cheese? I'm a Taco Bell mark. I just had it the other day. It's fine, but this isn't fine. I'm out on this.
You know what? When I read this story, first of all, because I haven't tried this is brand new. when I read this story, it kind of reminded me of the Domino's cheesesteak pizza.
Yeah.
They basically had all the ingredients already, and they just wanted to find some way to mix it up and really not bring anything new to the party. And that's kind of what this is.
Yeah,
right?
This is like a low-effort offering, if you ask me.
Well, it is only limited time, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Taco Bell introducing new steak and guac nacho fries. It's available now for a limited time at participating locations nationwide.
Can I also ask what you're supposed to do with the guac there?
Yeah, I don't quite get that.
Are you supposed to eat it with your hands?
I don't quite get that. I inserted the picture, so you saw what it looked like. I'm kind of pushing back on this as well. I'm going to hey, man, I got to be honest. I would not order this.
Yeah.
I would not order this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be slightly out.
Come on over to the dark side.
Yeah. Gut reaction is next. Here's a story about an Applebee's manager. We get Applebee's a hard time. Every time Applebee's comes up on the show.
Ryan's not here this time, though.
I should have saved this for him. An Applebee's manager guided 50 people to safety during a tornado in Michigan. During March the 6th, the tornado strike in Three Rivers, Michigan, Aubrey McKenzie evacuated 50 customers and employees at her Applebee's restaurant for protection. The EF2 tornado generated maximum winds reaching 130 miles an hour. Quote, "I knew what my position was in this building and what I needed to do. I tried to remain calm and get everybody where they needed to be. It was fast moving," unquote. Following an Applebee's manager to safety, in or out.
So for those of... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Following a Applebee's manager to safety, in or out.
If you're watching the show, you can see me holding up the Michigan hand here, and so Three Rivers is about about right here.
Right.
Three Rivers is about right here. It's almost in Indiana. It's so far south in Michigan. But that being said, man, I mean, you gotta have a little ingenuity to be a manager, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with if you have a guy. I mean, this guy, it could be an Applebee's manager that rips off his shirt and saves the guys in Red Dawn or something. You never know, right? So I mean, you gotta go with where the brains are. In this case, it was the Applebee's manager, and he probably wasn't a divorced dad at this point.
Oh, there you go. You had to get that in there. Yeah, I'm going to be in on this. Me too. We have thrown a lot of shade on Applebee's over the years, and I just kind of felt like I needed to do this story.
There used to be a drive-in movie theater near there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Finally, this one's about a celebrity. Bryson DeChambeau revealed today during the par 3 tournament before the opening round of the Masters tomorrow that he's going to use a 5-iron that he designed himself and made from a 3D printer. Okay? Bryson DeChambeau, in or out?
I'm a little apathetic towards him. I don't really care one way or the other as far as I am truly a fan or not. But this idea is really cool. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, why not?
You have the ability to do it. It's legal to do it as part of the organization. He's designing it himself and taking. I mean, I think everything about that's kind of a neat story, right? And it's not AI. It's just a 3D printer. Yeah, I got to be in on this. I think that's a neat story.
I might be in the minority here, but I've always been kind of fascinated by the guy's game. First of all, he plays golf where the lengths of all the clubs, including the putter, are the same. That is such a unique idea. Now, there's been somebody else who's done that, but he's been obviously the most successful. And first of all, it looks like he's going to knock the ball 350 yards every time he tees off. So it's kind of fascinating to see a guy like this negotiate his way around Augusta National. And the idea that you could print your own golf club, a 5-iron, and then use it in arguably the biggest golf tournament in the world, man, I got mad respect for that.
Look, I got to tell you, if this becomes a thing where bowlers can start printing out for their own bowling ball before they start rolling and things like that, I mean, dial me in. I think I would watch that. That's actually pretty interesting.
I think it's really cool. I can't wait for him to pull that number 5 out of the bag this week. I think that's going to be really,
and if you break it, just go print me off a new one.
Exactly. In on Bryson DeChambeau. All right, we'll take a break, and Tony Caridi joins us next to talk about the Mountaineers and more. This is Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
This is Hotline, presented by Salango Law on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Thanks for watching your Metro News TV weather forecast. Brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
This is your Metro News television forecast brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun. After starting off our day generally in the 20s, it will be milder overnight into Thursday. Then we start a warm stretch with every day keeping us at least a little on the warm side of daily averages. Not a lot of precipitation on the way, some light rain possible Friday into Saturday, and then widespread showers possible Tuesday and Wednesday. If we look at this running accumulation through Sunday night, north is where we're still less than 1/10 of an inch, extending this through Tuesday night. Even so, southern West Virginia struggling to pick up any accumulation. So all things considered, a pretty dry 7-day period. That's with drier air in place, which is also part of what keeps a lot of clear skies out there. So that's what we have tonight. And Thursday, we'll have some nice sunshine, even without the clouds overnight. Could be the recipe for a cooler one, but compared to what we had this morning, definitely could be colder. Here's your Fly CRW forecast. It starts at home. If you're traveling across the country, notice many of these spots do have a warming trend over the coming days. The exception is Chicago, falling to 47 by Friday with some showers Thursday and Friday. Also want to plan for some stormy weather in Florida. Elsewhere, pretty dry conditions. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast. We mentioned milder night ahead, and we will see the northern Panhandle staying in the 40s for the most part, topping off in the 70s on Thursday. Looking east into the mountains, locally we will see temperatures near and below the freezing mark. Highs then struggling to warm much past the low 60s here on Thursday, but more of the exception than the rule for the rest of the region. We'll see most spots above freezing, if not in the 40s, and then topping off with a lot of low to mid 70s on Thursday. Here we have Petersburg at 70 as well, and in the south, locally still seeing some areas that are near and below freezing, but looking west to stay in the mid 40s and top off in the mid 70s. Charleston over the next 7 days, a little bit of light rain into Saturday morning, and then Tuesday and Wednesday.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
At a hotel. And a Clarksburg woman accused of fatally stabbing her mother last year was found not competent to stand trial. 42-year-old Shanna Van Norman was found incompetent in court today after receiving the proper therapy. Van Norman is accused of stabbing her mother, 64-year-old Elaine Lebin, in March 2025. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Morgan Pemberton.
Being isolated and lonely can be harmful to your health, resulting in high blood pressure, a greater risk of heart disease, and early onset dementia. So it's important to build and maintain social connections. Try a new hobby, volunteer, exercise, or use your phone or other device to stay in touch. Visit connecttoeffect.org to find resources and ways to stay connected. Presented by AARP Foundation with support from United Healthcare.
All right, welcome back. 26 till the hour, Metro News Hotline. Thanks for tuning in today, folks. Really appreciate it. Tony Caridi is going to be joining us in just a matter of seconds, talking about the Mountaineers and more. One more reset on our question of the day. We'll get into some of your responses in detail after our next commercial break. So, it was on this date in 1979. The last episode of All in the Family aired on CBS. So, here's the question of the day, and it's sponsored by Salango Law. What TV family most closely resembles your own? For better or for worse? Which TV family most closely resembles your own, for better or for worse? And we've had a lot of terrific answers, and we'll get into more of those after our next commercial break. Also, get you caught up on a lot of baseball stuff. WVU's hosting Marshall in about an hour, less than an hour now. And the Pirates were losers today to San Diego, 8-2. In Pittsburgh. We'll get more in details on that after our next commercial break. But let me bring Tony Caridi on to the program to talk about the Mountaineers and more. How you doing today, Tony?
I am well, Dave. I am literally within vision sight here of the Kendrick Family Ballpark, getting ready for West Virginia and Marshall. Great move by them not to play yesterday because it was freezing, And tonight, it could not be better. What do we got now? Like 65, 66 degrees. It's sunny, not a cloud in the sky. It's going to be a great night.
Outstanding. Hey, tell me a little bit about the celebration after the Mountaineer basketball team won the Crown tournament in Las Vegas. I understand you guys stayed in Vegas that night and then returned the next day. What went down after the game that we didn't see?
Well, it was good. So I think that they were on the floor, Dave, for a really long time. I don't know when Fox cut it, but confetti came down and the throne was out there. So the guys had the opportunity to put themselves onto the throne, hold the crown. They got the full circle. They had those big, huge golden necklaces that they wore. And so it was good. They did cut the net down and really good. And then I thought the best, for me personally, the best thing that I really enjoyed was we walked back over to the hotel afterward, and the team is already there. And I was with, Ross and Ren Baker, and we walked over, and he walked in and said, "All right, guys," while they were eating, he goes, "One last time." He said, "Come on in here." And they sat down into their chairs in front of the video projector where they had been during pregame. And it was the last time that he was going to talk to that group. And it was a heartfelt, about a 15-minute rap from him as to what those guys meant to him. And he individually, just went up and down with those guys from where they started to where they finished, and just praised them for their resilience that we've all seen throughout the course of this season. And he just said, "Listen, guys, I've been doing this a long time, 20-plus years. I'll never forget you guys." And it was emotional, man, because it's the last time that they'll be together.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so the chain with the crown symbol, how many of those are there?
Oh, they're plastic. I hate to break them. They weigh about 7 ounces.
Nice.
They're just costume jewelry type stuff, but I thought they were fun. Yeah.
All right. So, did you have to pull Brad out of the casino after the tournament? I mean, he had
no. He was. I think he and I were the only two guys in the history of Las Vegas that went and didn't put a penny into anything. Now we ate like kings, but no, it was a great time, Dave. It's kind of really wild when you think about it. It could have been a horrible experience if you lose to Stanford. And it would have just said, like, okay, why did we fly all the way out here for that? And it would have left, I think, a sour taste within everyone's, kind of deal as to, okay, that didn't end well. Conversely, you get that game, you get Creighton, you beat OU the way that you beat OU in rally fashion, and all of a sudden it blossoms into something that you'll never forget. And I know, trust me when I say this, the premise on all of this is you don't play to go to the crown. You play to go to the NCAA. But absence of an NCAA berth, this was the best possible way for this team to end this season. It's always going to go down as a very unique group. Every member of that team that played this year was not on the team last year. It's Ross's first year. They got in here, late as far as the portal goes, as far as picking up players. And as a result of that, this is the best possible scenario, I think, that could have come to this team. And then, you throw in the fact it'd be one thing to just say, hey, we won the Crown Championship. That was great. We won a title. But the money, right? They're splitting $300,000. And so those guys made cash, too. So to me, it was like a classic win-win.
See, I just had this picture in my mind of, after the tournament, like Brad wanted to go back into the casino and win back the money that he lost, and you were supposed to like pull him out of there by his collar. At least that's the picture I had in my mind. I guess maybe that wasn't reality.
In honesty, what it was we went out and we had a really good high-level Mexican meal. At the end of the meal, like Ross looked over, Ren looked over, I looked over, Brad looked over, and Ben Murray looked over at each other and go like, man, we're freaking tired. We're going to bed. It was like 9 o'clock. So that was the extent of it.
So what did you think of the national championship game? Was anybody out there this year that was better than Michigan? Was that just a confirmation that they were really the best team?
It was the confirmation. And, Dave, as I watched them, their size and physicality was just an absolute wow. When you took a look at those guys That was the differentiator. I mean, and Dusty May, obviously, it goes without saying, is a superb coach to get two teams now into the Final Four. So he's like tremendously good. And then couple that with like extremely high-level players. I mean, they're 7'3", 6'9", 6'9" up front, and they're switching almost everything except the 5 spot. I mean, are you kidding me? And you could see, I mean, Connecticut's powerful. They're strong. They had everything was a struggle to get a good shot. And so there was no doubt whatsoever they were the kings of the court, and they belonged they deserved to win that national title.
You know, you mentioned the Mountaineer team that won the crown. They had one last meeting after they'd won the championship in overtime against Oklahoma. Are there any of these guys that played on WVU's basketball team this year that could potentially be on Best Virginia's TBT team? Has that been discussed?
You know, that's a good question. I think if you kind of look at it, so, I mean, it's a possibility. I don't know. I mean, John Flowers is still around a lot around the building, and so I don't know if he's inquired, but it's a potential possibility. But I don't know if, where those guys stand this year in regard to building that roster.
All right. What's your take on DJ Thomas getting into the portal? I mean, we're looking at another year, another total rebuild or close to it, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. So I think in DJ's case, we're in a business, right? And I think that his agent, right, they have a number. West Virginia has a number, and West Virginia has a limited amount of resources. And I don't say that I don't say a limit. They have a number. They have a budget, and it's a good budget. I mean, it's a budget that you can compete in the Big 12 conference. They've got money, but Ross Hodge looks at that and says, okay, here's my slotting. And, their number did not jive with DJ's number, and as a result, he's gone. So I think, nice kid and all of that, but this is business, plain and simple. And West Virginia made a business decision, and that's that. And you just got to go out there and you go find what you want, and that's basically the extent of it. And it hurts because, over the long haul, we are no longer going to be able to see our teams grow for 2, 3, and 4 years. That's done, man, unfortunately. This is going to be a situation where, we might get a couple of kids here and there that stay for more than 1 year. But other than that, it's business deals. And maybe if they can get some of these kids down the road to 2-year deals, at least you'll have them for 2. But I think this is the new world that we're living in.
Speaking of that, North Carolina formally introduced Michael Malone as their new coach yesterday. He's going to make $8.3 million a year. That puts him up into the top 5 in terms of salary amongst college basketball coaches. The fact that he's coming from the NBA after he won a championship with the Nuggets in 2023, and that college basketball recruiting has become a lot more transactional because of all the money that's allowed into the college game. Now, you think we're going to see more of those types of moves where guys with NBA experience that may not have a lot of experience in recruiting maybe turning to the college game because they don't really have to deal with that, and that the money is so good?
I think it's possible, right? We're seeing Kevin Young's at BYU. He's an NBA guy. Right. He jumped in. We're seeing more than a couple of guys do that. But, Dave, I want to tell you this. There's a difference between the pro game and the college game in this sense. The reason West Virginia had success this year, 21 games that they won, is the magic to this business is bringing together these new bodies and quickly putting them together and gelling them together and teaching them a chemistry and a culture, right? Pro guys, that's not their concern. Pro guys, they try to get as best talent as possible, and the carrot in front of those guys is they have to perform, right? Those players have to perform, and they're their own little islands. They come together, they play. College basketball is still the guys that can be the most connected. And, we talked about Dusty May a bit ago. I mean, his ability to bring that group together and connect them was his magic. So pro coaches, I'm not saying they can't they can excel with everybody, but they better have that understanding that these dudes aren't pros, even though they're getting paid. They don't have the maturity level of pros. They don't have the experience level of pros. And you have to do a lot of work off of the court to bring these guys together, more so than you have to do on an NBA team.
Hey, finally, I just want to get your take on this. with the fact that Malone was kind of like a dark horse candidate, nobody even knew he was even involved in the North Carolina search. I thought there was a point of the year in the Big 12 where there would be a very limited possibility that Bill Self and Tommy Lloyd and that Otzelberger would all still be in the Big 12. And now they're all back. So that doesn't make any easier for Ross Hodge next year. It looks like those programs they're not going to miss a beat.
No, well, no. Now Kansas did lose everybody, but they're still Kansas. But no, you're right. I mean, and that's fine. West Virginia has its footing now. Finally, after 4 coaches in 4 years, we're going to have a coach for his second consecutive year. He has the lay of the land. He gets it. He's superb. And now you're going to see next year this roster, Dave, will be an elevation in overall talent. It'll be an elevation in athleticism. We'll have to do the counting to see if they have the same game experience, because we had a lot of guys that played well over 100 games. So that, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But we're going to be fine. We'll be a better team. We'll be a more talented team than we were this past year. And that's not to take away from these guys, but it's just like you've got to get better in this league all of the time, and West Virginia's positioned to do that.
All right, Tony, got to leave it there. Enjoy the game tonight. Thanks for your time today. I do appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Dave. We'll see you, bud.
All right, let's take a quick break. We're coming back with more in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Hey, everything okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Honey. Hey, I'm here for you. Tell me about school today.
When kids can't find the right words, music can help them sound it out. Talk to the kids in your life about their emotional well-being. Find tools and resources at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
To the big-hearted, the bold, the teachers, the growers, the builders, the change makers. We need you. We are the Peace Corps. In more than 60 countries, we go the distance to make a difference. We're volunteers, partners, communities, bringing our experience, joy, and passion to building a better world together. Are you looking for more? Then we are looking for you. Join us at peacecorps.gov.
I'm Scarlett Johansson. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. You can join the movement to end hunger by donating, volunteering, and advocating. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Being blind doesn't always look how others may think.
Retinitis pigmentosa aimed to overwhelm my family.
It tried to cut me down. I know where to find support and where I can be seen.
Innovative research, educational resources, supportive community. The Foundation Fighting Blindness is leading the charge in finding treatments and cures for blinding diseases. Learn more at fightingblindness.org. A public service message from the Foundation Fighting Blindness.
Every day, we fight to preserve magnificent places and wildlife, to keep our water and air safe, and to advance clean energy and combat climate change. We're Earth Justice, a national legal nonprofit fighting for your right to a healthy environment. We're Earth Justice, and we're here because the Earth needs a good lawyer. No one fights and wins more cases on the environment than we do. Want to join us in this fight? The time is now. Go to earthjustice.org today. That's earthjustice.org.
Need a break from the headlines and mindless drivel? Metro News Hotline brings you that much-needed afternoon distraction, but with substance. My decades in journalism, plus a passion for everything from baseball nostalgia to the latest tech trends, mean insights you won't get anywhere else. Coop brings the pop culture know-how and good-natured ribbing, while your calls take things in surprising directions. Tune in for the lively chats that are refreshingly different. Find us from 3 to 6 weekdays on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
I was proud to be a soldier.
I told the truth and got kicked out. And so I thought to myself, I'm taking this rule down.
If you're an LGBTQ+ veteran, your memories are important too. Share your story with the Library of Congress Veterans History Project, where firsthand accounts from U.S. military veterans are preserved and made accessible for researchers and future generations. Visit loc.gov/vets to submit your stories, photographs, and documents today.
All right, welcome back to the show. A couple of quick baseball things here. Coach Tony Caridi just had a conversation with us before the break. He was basically calling from the parking lot where Marshall and WVU are going to get together. First pitch scheduled in about 40 minutes at 6:30. The Pirates have already played today. They got a good start from Mitch Keller. He went 6 scoreless, but the bullpen couldn't do their end, and the Pirates were losers to San Diego this afternoon, 8-2, rubber game of that 3-game set. Probably the bigger story, though, was earlier in the day where Connor Griffin did sign his contract with the Pirates. 9 years, that part we know. Reportedly, it's for $140 million with incentives that could maybe tack on another $10 million. That's amazing when you consider the fact that he's only 19 years old. So the Reds are playing tonight. It's game 3 of their set with the Marlins in Miami. Brady Singer gets a call tonight, Coop. It's a battle of right-handers. So Singer's going to be making his second start. The lineups are posted. Here's the lineup for the Reds tonight. Friedel in center. McLean, who's off to a great start, had 2 extra base hits last night. He's in the 2-hole at second base. Dela Cruz will be in the 3-hole. Stewart will bat cleanup. His OPS right now is still over 1,000, hitting 351. Suarez will DH. Benson's in left. Stevenson behind the plate. It's funny. He's only hitting 148, but how many of those hits have been home runs? Has he got any other hits besides the 2 homers?
That might be all.
That might be it. And we were talking about Marte, and he's kind of been the odd man out for the Reds so far, but he's in right field tonight, and Key Brian Hayes will be at third. So we'll see what happens.
I think Marte is like 1 for 4,000 or something like that. He is really struggling, and his one hit's an infield single, so he's really struggling to start the season.
So the Reds are off to their I couldn't believe this when I saw the stat. The Reds are off to their best start in 15 years.
Historic bad starters in the last few decades, it's true.
And they haven't lost a road game yet.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's bound to happen, obviously. Maybe tonight, you never know what's going to happen with Perez out there on the mound.
So, a really good start to the season for the Reds. For 580 WCHS, our flagship, they are the Reds affiliate here in this market. Other games, I did want to mention this. They've handed out the suspensions for the brawl last night between the Angels and the Braves. So Jorge Soler had a 2-run homer last night. Then the next time he came to the plate, Ronaldo Lopez hit him on the hand. And then the next time he came to the plate, he got his tower buzzed at about 100 miles an hour, and that started a big brawl. Both of those guys got 7-game suspensions.
I tell you what, I was watching a little bit of that, and Lopez was trying to use a baseball like a mace. Like he was holding it in his hand and trying to wing it at the guy and hit him with it, with the baseball in his hand. They both needed to go, but I think Lopez might have needed a little extra time. As a starting pitcher, that's only one start. I think he needed a little more than that.
I agree with that. And you can say, well, Soler came at him. What's he supposed to do?
Yeah,
he started it.
Yeah, the dude was obviously throwing at him, and I think that it just goes to show that he was throwing at him by the fact that he tried to hit him with a baseball in his hand like it was a weapon. Man, what is wrong with that? That's not right.
No, that wasn't right.
There's no weapons in baseball, except for the bat.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But, it was for a baseball fight, there was some intensity. It wasn't like everybody. It's not a baseball fight until they come in out of the bullpen.
It wasn't. Right? It wasn't Nolan Ryan tackling Robin Ventura, but it was. It was not a. It wasn't one of those things where everybody just kind of gets off the bench and mills around and then goes back. It was a little bit more than that.
Yeah, it was a little heated. A lot of scores have gone final today in baseball. In Cleveland, the Guardians beat the Royals 10-2. The Red Sox slowed down the Brewers. Boston's beaten Milwaukee 2 nights in a row, or 2 games in a row. At the Fens, 5-0. That's the final. Sonny Gray threw a shutout today for Boston. The O's went on the road in Chicago against the White Sox 5-3. Texas and Arlington over the Mariners 3-0. Top of the ninth. The Blue Jays lead the Dodgers And Toronto's really had their hat handed to them the first 2 games in this series, but they're trying to get it done. The closer situation in Toronto has been kind of crazy. We'll see what happens. Hoffman's in there now. It's 4-3. Toronto leads the Dodgers in the top of the 9th inning. Bottom 8, Rockies leading the Astros in Denver 8-1. The Giants lead the Phillies 3-0. Bottom of the 8th inning in San Francisco. And top of the 7th inning, the Cardinals lead the Nats in D.C. 3-1. Let's take a break, and we're back to wrap it for the day in a moment.
Veterans, plan ahead to ensure your loved ones are protected at the end of your life. Include a copy of your discharge papers with your will. Apply for VA life insurance. Write your healthcare decisions in a living will. Review survivor's benefits. Explore VA burial options with a pre-need application. Don't wait. Visit va.gov/plan-ahead to learn more.
What's on your to-do list? Check your mail? Get groceries? How about getting your annual vaccines? We can help you check that off.
You've got this.
Yes, you do. Because we've got you. With local vaccine events and access to transportation, protecting yourself and your loved ones is not a chore anymore.
You've got this.
A message from the Aging and Disability Vaccination Collaborative, powered by U.S. Aging. Funded by the U.S. Administration for Community Living through a grant to U.S. Aging. Learn more at yougotthis.usaging.org.
Children are the greatest joy and our best hope for a better future. Friends, they are the future. But did you know that millions of kids are facing hunger every day? Food is not just food. It's energy, health, confidence, hope, and even love. Yes, love.
Thank you!
Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
Discover the WVRC Media app, your gateway to pristine audio for every WVRC radio station across West Virginia. Download it for free from the Apple or Play stores and enjoy the best music, talk, and local news from Beckley to Morgantown, Charleston to Martinsburg. Our stations are locally programmed, delivering the finest music and robust local news and sports coverage. Experience West Virginia radio like never before. The WVRC Media app. We're proud to live here, too.
The YMCA is just a starting line, for the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. My why is diversity and unity, a safe space in my community, living with sincerity, giving every day my everything. With my why, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror, and everyone belongs. Find your why. Learn more at ymca.org for a better us.
West Virginia Outdoors is the Mountain State's only hook and bullet radio show, dedicated to the more than 250,000 hunters and anglers across the state. Award-winning host Chris Lawrence has been tracking down hunting and fishing stories for more than 25 years.
I shot him. He ran over to the edge of the field. He made it about 5-10 yards out of the edge of the field and fell over there.
West Virginia Outdoors covers it all. Saturday mornings at 7:06 a.m. on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Ask yourself what you will miss more, your children or cigarettes. As long as I can remember, my mother smoked. She died from lung cancer when I was 16. I could not take the chance of continuing smoking and not being here for my daughter. I know how much I needed my mom still, and I didn't realize it until I had lost her.
You're not just quitting for yourself. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
All right, folks, we're late. We got to get out of here, but stay tuned for the news and Sportsline's on the other side. My name's Dave Weekley. I'll talk to you tomorrow beginning at 3:06 right here on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Hotline on the Metro News Network is presented by Salango Law, salangolaw.com. Hear Hotline weekdays from 3 until 6 on this Metro News station or wvmetronews.com. Visit the site or your favorite podcast service for past shows and features. This has been Hotline, presented by Salango Law on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.